Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks. Oh, fuck me. Check that on, Botchamania. Oh, wow.
We're off to a fly.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network, and the only podcast that won't complain about the build-up to WWE Evolution. And I'm 100% keeping that botch into the in the podcast. It's a tribute to Test.
That was not a test.
Yeah, that was not a test. This is the real deal.
We're live, pal.
I am your host, the Mordecai of Microphone, Brandon Marlow, and as always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
Hold my waist, brother.
Wow. I'm also joined by the IMDb of wrestling, Nathan Marlow.
Shout out to my dad. He actually listened to an episode of it.
What's that? Your dad listened to it?
He listened to one of our episodes.
Which
I
one?
love you, Dad.
I have no idea. He didn't fucking have a clue what we were talking about.
You know what? Sometimes I don't even have a clue what we're talking about, so it's not surprising.
Shout out.
Hey,
Good man.
plenty of hunkamaniacs all across the world. Actually, I looked at the stats for our Spotify, and there's some dude listening in Mexico, some dude listening in Ukraine. So
Wow.
I think there was one from Sweden as well.
Thank you, guys.
So it's like actual confirmation that it's not just us listening to it, because we're not in those countries.
We're not from there.
We're not from here.
I don't think any of us have taken a trip to Ukraine and listened to the podcast, so it's definitely not us.
Oh, I can't wait to hold a Q&A there.
We'll fly out, do a live show.
Yes.
Something to do with the Ukraine. I think we're pretty close to getting ads for dick pills on the podcast.
Woohoo!
Enjoy your soft dick.
Speaking of advertisements, the Wrestle Hunks Podcast is again brought to you by a sponsor, and this week it is the WWF New York. And as always, our expert, Nathan Marlow, will tell you a little more about it.
Get down to WWF New York, February 2003, to experience the best dining experience you'll ever have.
For only $10, you'll get a WWF freezer mug.
And a season pass to the XFL.
Wow, that's a pretty good deal. Season pass to the XFL.
Yeah, what do you know there? Just get in there before they close, guys. So
Your voice is gonna... A couple more weeks, your voice is gonna be done.
I'm already feeling it, boys.
Yeah, you're going to have to do the podcast in sign language.
I can't even have a Red Bull because my voice hurts already. I have to have water.
Oh, fuck that.
I just want to know how much it costs to go to WWF New York and watch one of the pay-per-views.
I think it was like $5 or $10.
A gold coin entry.
And they had all the UK ones.
The WWF New York should have thrived. It was in Times Square. Can't believe it. That's one of the big missed opportunities from Vince.
You're sounding like Vince McMahon.
It's not as bad as the WWF casino that never even became a WWF casino.
Put it all on, everything on Undertaker.
Everything on Test, brother.
Bet on himself and double down.
So this week we're reviewing the career of Test, a man who we bring up constantly on this podcast, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons, sometimes just purely because of the fact that he's dead. It was a tight race in the poll this week, mostly thanks to Kevin Thorne retweeting the poll and giving the numbers a serious shot in the arm. We actually had over 100 voters this week, which had never been done before. But Test still ended up winning on 35%, just ahead of Mordecai / Kevin Thorne on 32%. Sean O'Hare and Simon Dean were further back on 19% and 14% percent respectively. And both those boys were actually doing not too bad before Kevin Thorne just came in there with the retweet and really skewed the numbers. Some people would say it was a little unfair that Kevin Thorne retweeted it, but it's not really his fault that the other members of the poll were either dead or don't have any social media. So,
Are you talking about the podcast best friend Kevin Thorne?
yeah, friend of the show, Kevin Thorne, my personal best friend.
Yeah,
Well, don't make me message Simon Dean on his personal Facebook.
I can't believe you found that, to be honest.
I did so much searching to like try and find a Simon Dean Twitter account. I was so let
it's
down when I
not.
couldn't find one. And you just pull out his Facebook account.
With his kids as the profile picture. There's no evidence it's actually him.
That's fucked up.
Well, I wanted Sean O'Hare to retweet it, but he's no longer with us.
Rest in peace.
Went to the big wrestling ring in the sky. we might have to do a podcast with something to do with Slex or Cody Rhodes, because they got in touch with the show during the week as well.
They're big fans.
We're making waves in the wrestling community. It's unbelievable.
Business.
Yeah, the business.
I think
My guy.
would we be able to review Slex's career? Can you watch?
Yeah, you can get
MCW?
an MC. They have a live streaming service.
Oh, are they on?
I'm not sure if they have an
Like Impact?
archive though.
If MC
No, not like Impact.
If MCW had a 24/7 live stream on Twitch, I would definitely tune in every now and then.
Just see how they're doing.
Can I just check in on how crazy Steve's going?
I hope we see him next month. It's going to be very exciting.
he's not
Then
an
we'll find out his real
international star.
name.
No, we might actually listen to his entrance this time instead of just shitting on him.
I.
I hope he does the dark match, man. That was my favorite match of the night. That night.
Why was he huffing and puffing?
I don't know, but to be honest, he wasn't that bad in the ring. It was a decent little dark match.
It wasn't horrible.
It was
Honestly, I can't remember who he wrestled, so that tells you.
some generic ass guy.
That
He was
tells you
never
who the
going to
star
win.
is, doesn't it? Yeah.
Was it Big Bad Brody Marshall?
I have no idea who that is.
No, he wrestled later on, didn't he? The big dog.
Yeah, I think he did.
So in future, when we have somebody win a poll that's not dead, I want to try and get that wrestler on the podcast, because I reckon we could get Kevin Thorne.
Oh, we could have. If he had won, I reckon we could. I was thinking about that. I was like, I hope.
Don't have to get him on. Just get him to do an intro.
Oh,
Or like Botchamania.
It's probably easier to get him to do an intro than make him have to come on.
Oh, but he's just a regular dude these days. He's got nothing better to do with his time.
Don't say that, man. He listens to this.
I mean, he still
Come on
wrestles.
and shoot the breeze. Yeah, but he wrestles occasionally. It's like a hobby for him now. Like he literally, the other week on his Twitter, he put out something about like, oh, I've got like free weekends at such and such time. Who wants to book me? And then he had something about he wants to point his feet to the lights. Like, respect, man. He knows that he needs to put over the young talent at this point in his career.
No one put him over though. It's fucking ludicrous.
It's some
is what it is.
bullshit.
Yeah.
He deserves better in ECW. He could have been in Test's place.
Main eventing Royal Rumbles and stuff. Yeah.
So bringing it back to Test, what are our memories of Test's illustrious career?
Jeez. We'll get to it a bit later, but the Scott Steiner rivalry with Stacey,
His greatest feud, arguably.
I would say it is. And probably the stuff in ECW. That's probably, that pretty much sums up when I was watching as a kid, but probably just those two things off the top of my head.
What about you, Nat?
Test was almost my equal favorite wrestler. Why are you laughing?
Equal with who?
Randy Orton.
Evolution Mark, of course.
Yeah, and you're the witness. I used to always use him in Here Comes the Pain even though you would use fucking Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, well, Brock Lesnar was good.
Yeah,
used to
I
make-
just like Test.
I used to make Brock Lesnar team with Sean O'Hare. It was a good team.
And that's just my memory of Test. I loved him.
Was Shannon Moore on that video game?
He was. I don't think Shannon Moore ever got to be in a video game, unfortunately.
That would have been a stable that you would have made. Sean O'Hare, Brock, and Shannon Moore.
Sean O'Hare
I beat
gets
him
in
with
that
Test
game,
still.
but Shannon Moore doesn't. Shannon Moore was on WrestleMania 19.
Hey, that just sums it up, doesn't it?
I'd still be.
Hey, I'm the GOAT, and here comes the pain.
It's because I use Test.
That's not my fault. You could have used Goldberg.
Yeah, but he didn't have Test music. That's literally why I'd probably choose him.
So I don't have that many memories of Test, other than literally his Unforgiven match, a little bit in ECW, and us owning his wrestling figure from the King of the Ring line. That's basically
I'll get into that.
The entire history of my time knowing who Test was. I don't even remember watching him on Raw back in the day when it was on Friday nights here.
It wasn't Goldberg, that's why. You were focused on the...
I don't even think I remember watching Goldberg.
Oh, god damn.
I think I was still bitter about WCW going under. I was a real WCW mark when I was like 3 years old.
You just said, I'm gonna start watching WWE when Sting arrives.
But Dad, what do you mean WCW's not on this week?
That was definitely me when it disappeared from Fox Sports. Like, where's Sting?
You have to wait for TNA.
And that's why I became a TNA mark for like 2 years.
That's reasonable.
So moving on to Test's career, because this could potentially get a little long if we aren't careful. So we should get started on Test's actual career here. Real name of Test was Andrew Martin. Those who are fans of the his Test Dead account, I think, would really know his true name. He was born on March 17, 1975 in Whitby, Ontario, Canada. And his wrestling career really started in the mid-1990s when he met Bret Hart in a restaurant. Hart offered to train him to wrestle, and then Martin spent 8 months training under both Hart and Leo Burke. Martin made his professional debut in 1997 wrestling on the Canadian independent circuit under the ring names Martin Kane and TJ Thunder. And TJ Thunder that's a name that would have got over. That sounds like a cruiserweight guy name, like not a big hoss.
That's local talent for Braun Strowman to wrestle 1 week.
Definitely. I don't know why they would give him that. Also, Martin Kane, not a good name either. So Test continued his training under Dory Funk Jr. at Funk's Funkin' Dojo, talking about names and quality of names, that is a great name for a wrestling dojo. That was down in Ocala, Florida. So throughout 97 and 98, he worked for IWA and WWA, but pretty quickly Martin gained the attention of the WWF because by September of 1998, he was working dark matches on Shotgun Saturday Night under his real name. Test makes his first appearance on a proper, primetime show, because Sunday Night Heat was treated kind of like a primetime show during this era. On the October 25, 1998 edition, as a bodyguard for Motley Crüe, which the commentary team would constantly remind us about in the coming weeks and months. They were performing on the show, and at one point he throws an overzealous fan off the stage. Did either of you go back and watch this? Because I didn't bother with it. I didn't think it was significant enough.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I've seen it before.
I thought they meant like he was actually a bodyguard for Motley Crüe when they said that.
You thought it was like a shoot, like actual... He was a bodyguard for Motley Crüe?
Yeah, because a bunch of like big guys that come in, they're like actual like bouncers and stuff. I just assumed that was probably true. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
I've seen it in a video with, I think it was like celebrities and wrestling. Just a compilation. And just Test was in it.
Motley Crüe really must have been on the down in 1998 because they're performing on Sunday Night Heat. Like they couldn't even get onto Raw.
No, doesn't that just say how big Test was? Because they were performing for Test.
Yeah, Motley Crüe really put Test over.
Exactly.
They're to thank for Test's career. So in the November 5, 1998 Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer would write, the big bodyguard during Motley Crüe's performance on Sunday Night Heat was actually Andrew Martin, who was recently signed and should be starting soon. This leads to Test's first proper appearance, which comes a little while later on December 14th of 1998. This episode of Raw would see him attack Triple H and align himself with The Rock. And Meltzer would have a little bit of info about Test's in-ring name in the December 21, 1998 Wrestling Observer. He said, and Andrew Martin debuted and is being given the name Test, which is a rib because it's short for testosterone. And Dave says they're basically naming wrestlers after steroids now. I don't know whether to believe Meltzer on that.
What other wrestlers have they named after steroids?
I don't know. Like, I feel like he's just pulling this out of his ass.
I think he was just having a joke.
Having a Lendivus.
Having a giggle with whoever his fucking co-host was back then.
Probably a bloody 15-year-old Conrad Thompson.
Hey man, how are you?
So that brings us to Test's debut on Raw here. As mentioned, it was the December 14th, 1998 episode. And we all watched this, and we all got to see a real clusterfuck here of a main event. It sees Shawn Michaels distracting Triple H and Earl Hebner, which allows Chyna to low blow The Rock. Triple H then hits a DDT, but The Rock is still able to kick out. HBK then alerts Hebner to Chyna's low blow, and he gets distracted talking to her. Meanwhile, Triple H hits a pedigree, but HBK hits him in the back with the belt. The Rock goes for a cover, but only gets 2. Chyna then goes after Shawn Michaels on the outside, leading to Hebner getting distracted again. Test then comes into the ring, hits the pump handle slam, and The Rock wins. What do we all think of Test's debut on Monday Night Raw?
Why was he wearing sunglasses?
That was his thing, wearing his speed dealers all the time back then. He really loved them.
Yeah, that's an interesting look. He just didn't take them off when he got in the ring. Just kept them on, look cool. I also... It kind of shocked me. I guess I never really watched like late '98 wrestling, but Triple H and The Rock it was the opposite to what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think Triple H would be the babyface in the match and The Rock would be the heel.
Yeah, I didn't expect Triple H to be a babyface at this time. I was a bit shocked by that. I didn't realize DX were babyfaces at this point.
Because like I read what you wrote, it says align himself with The Rock. I thought he came in for the save or something, and he was coming in as a babyface.
Excuse me, that's the corporate Rock. That's the corporate champion.
Yeah, is that what is the corporate elbow?
Yeah, the corporate elbow. He doesn't throw the elbow pad to the crowd. He throws it on the guy he's doing it to.
Yeah, respect.
The corporate microphone, the corporate eyebrow.
But I thought it was fairly solid to bring him in like that. He looked big. He looked very big.
I just wanted to point out here that Triple H looks fucking ridiculous. Like, he's full clean shaven. He doesn't have, he doesn't wet his hair here. It's just, just all natural. He doesn't look great.
I've got something in the next match about that as well.
He also, for this match, for his little water spot, he comes out with a red Solo cup. Like, he just grabbed it from catering. He's like, fuck, I'm going to need some water.
Yeah, he's a little dehydrated.
I didn't like it. Also, Chyna wears arseless chaps. I thought
That's cool.
I thought that needed to be mentioned. What did you think of this? Not match, but run in from Test here, Nat?
Just to what Pricey said, Test looking big. He always made himself look bigger when he went over the top rope.
Yeah, I don't.
He stopped doing that. Like when he cut his hair off.
I don't know why he stopped doing that.
I don't know. Cut his hair off. He didn't look as tall.
He just looked smaller in general when he cut his hair off for some reason.
Do you reckon trunks make him look smaller?
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know.
Because you can't see his legs when he's wearing pants.
I feel like he looked taller though, because he wears trunks for a little bit when he debuts, and he still looks pretty tall then. So I don't know.
Go watch Jericho side by side of him wearing trunks and pants.
Yeah, fair call.
I don't know. Maybe all the roids made him shrink.
Maybe. And I said, out of all of the debuts, this is one of them.
That definitely is one of them. I thought it was a solid way to debut him. Basically, straight away injects him into a main event feud, which you can't really complain too much about a debut like that. He's getting straight into in the middle of a feud between The Rock and Triple H, so it's not the worst way to debut. It's not the most interesting, and I feel like they kind of just brush over it because they straight away, after The Rock wins, they just end the show. And the commentary are kind of awkward about his debut. Someone's I think it was Michael Cole. He's like, I think that's, and then like he just kind of
He
stops
doesn't
talking.
say anything, yeah.
Like he doesn't know whether he's like supposed to be like, oh, that's the bodyguard for Motley Crüe, or like, should I call him Andrew Martin? What the fuck do I call him? Clearly they hadn't come up with his
TJ
name
Thunder.
yet. Is that TJ Thunder from the Canadian Indies? But yeah, I didn't mind it too much. But he gets his proper debut the next week on the December 21, 1998 Raw. It's his Test and The Rock and Triple H and X-Pac going at it. This ends in a no contest after 9 minutes and 57 seconds. Before the match, HBK attempts to send DX to the back, but Vince overrules him. Triple H hits a pedigree on Test, but The Rock breaks up the pin. The Rock tells some of the corporation to get in the ring at this point, but as he does it, the lights go out, Kane's music hits, and he comes to the ring. It seems like he's going to help Triple H because he's had some problems with the corporation in the past, but instead he chokeslams Triple H, and the rest of DX end up getting chokeslammed by Kane as well. What did we think of Test's debut in the ring here?
Pretty slow. I wasn't really invested in this one. I don't like the little shirt he was wearing with the pants. I thought that was, I don't know, just looked kind of shit, to be honest. And
Yeah, I don't like when he wears a shirt like off and on for the first like year and a bit. I definitely do not like it. Like, come on, get that big rig out.
yeah, I mean, he's got a good body. Show it off.
He's a big horse.
But, I couldn't make out. Do you guys know what King was calling a Bronco Buster?
The bucking Bronco.
Is that what he was calling?
I think that he was calling it. Yeah, I remember him saying he's going to do the bucking Bronco. I'm like, isn't it the Bronco Buster?
I thought he said fucking. And I was like, man, you can't swear. And I thought he fucked up once, and then he said it again. I'm like, man, hey, King, just turn it down, mate. You can't swear on
X-Pac with the fucking Bronco.
That's what I thought he was saying. I thought, no, that can't be right. But, yeah, I mean, average debut, I guess. I didn't really care for it that much.
What about you, Nat?
I thought they made him look like an absolute goober.
That's a bit of a theme throughout his, his like first year, I'd say.
Because they kind of threw him in a corner in a tag match where you're not going to have the fucking Rock just sell his ass off. Like, just bump for Triple H and X-Pac, so I guess Test had to.
That's true.
I liked how they referred to Test as corporate insurance policy.
Yeah, they do refer to him as that a lot, and they mention him being Motley Crue's bodyguard so much on this episode. Like, every time Test goes to do something, they've got to mention that he was Motley Crue's bodyguard.
That's what he would do with Motley Crüe.
Yeah, that's like literally like word for word what they would say. It's like, you can give it a rest. We get it. He was the bodyguard of Motley Crüe. It wasn't even a shoot bodyguard.
He also botched, like, that running knee that Triple H... He didn't botch it, like, he got hit with it, but just the way he sold it was...
He sold it weird, yeah.
But I'm guessing he's fairly green at this point, so... I mean, that can be forgiven, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought this was, like, overall, like, just not looking at just from a Test perspective. I thought this was a fun match. And it just had a nice twist at the end with Kane. This was his return, and then him siding with the corporation. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Test doesn't really get to do much here. It's not really a great in-ring debut. He doesn't get to show off a lot of his arsenal of moves, so it's not great. I think really, like, most of the enjoyment here comes from DX. Like, I really enjoyed Bill Gunn wearing 69 on his DX jersey.
We all love Bill Gunn.
Also, he kind of gets, like, fucked by Triple H during their pre-match promo.
Did you notice after that, like, him getting fucked, that Triple H stuffed his promo up when he started laughing?
Yeah, he gives he points the microphone down to Billy Gunn, and then he says something, but I can't even make out what he says, and then Triple H is just thrown.
That was very entertaining, actually.
DX were just taking the piss at this point. Also,
it's good to see. I like it.
I wanted to point out that X-Pac was not wearing DX gear in this match, but when eventually DX disbands, he'd wear DX gear all the time.
Hey, he was matching Triple H's red tie.
Was Triple H wearing red tights in this one?
Yes, they were both wearing red. Fucking cunt. I don't know why they're both wearing red though. Literally, the match we watched the other week, the Rock match, he was wearing green tights.
It's Christmas themed. That's what it was.
Fuck off.
Holiday spirit,
red,
you know.
Red and green, yeah.
I wanted to say Test looked gigantic here, particularly when they put him up against X-Pac, who's basically a cruiserweight. They did a good job of selling just how big and tall Test is. So yeah, for like that aspect of his debut, I liked it because they didn't just throw him straight in there with Triple H, which would make him look not exactly that tall because Triple H is pretty big himself. And also, I just want to say, crowd was real hot for this. Even like when Test was doing stuff, they have no idea who the fuck Test is, but they're still pretty hot, which is basically just a sign of how big wrestling was in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, they're all a bunch of marks.
Just fucking losing their shit, wanting China to get her tits out.
They disgust me.
I can't remember if it was this match or a different one, but someone in the crowd had a sign that was like, "China, please spank me for my birthday." I'm like, all right, yep, okay, that's the Attitude Era.
I'm going to take that to a WWE show, but say Adam Cole instead.
So do we have any final thoughts on Test's in-ring debut here?
I think we covered everything.
So that will bring us to the next kind of significant moment in Test's career, which is his pay-per-view debut, which happens to be in the Royal Rumble match at Royal Rumble 1999 on January 24. So Test enters at 21. Billy Gunn and Ken Shamrock are the only people in the ring. Stone Cold is technically still in the match, but he'd been attacked by the corporation and sent to hospital. And at one point here, we cut backstage and we see Stone Cold returning to the arena driving an ambulance. He eventually comes into the ring and Test is eliminated by Stone Cold, who just simply tosses him over the top rope. Test lasts 12 minutes and 48 seconds here and he eliminates nobody. What did you guys think of Test in the Royal Rumble?
Very forgettable, I thought. Apart from like the traditional Rumble spot where you're in the corner making it look like you're trying to eliminate someone, but really you're just trying to have a rest.
That was him for 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much him. So apart from that, I mean, there's not much to say about his pay-per-view debut.
Well, all I've got is a fact of the tag team of Billy and Chuck in 2 of Test's Rumble. When he came in, they were in the ring.
Which one? Oh, was that one of the
01
Rumbles that you covered that we didn't all cover?
Yes, the 01 one. Chuck's in the ring, and then Billy's in this one, and he both enters both times at 21.
They really they always gave Test like later numbers, despite like never really giving him much to do in the Rumble.
He's the overdog, not the underdog.
Personally, I thought this was really not much of a showing for Test's first Royal Rumble. He doesn't do anything of note here. And in general, like I only watched 12 minutes and 48 seconds of this Royal Rumble match, but I didn't like it in general. It's basically, the whole thing is designed to be DX and Stone Cold versus the corporation. It's sort of like how the 40-man Royal Rumble was for the Nexus and the Core. Like, I didn't like that they built the whole Royal Rumble about this one feud. Like, everybody's just, divided in 2 sides. I feel like it ruins the flow of a Royal Rumble match.
That's fair.
Also, shout out to Vince putting a bounty on Stone Cold's head. Whoever eliminates him gets the money.
Not enough bounties nowadays, I don't think.
The superstars have 100,000 reasons to eliminate Stone Cold.
I'm guessing you boys remember the old bounty on Goldberg. Am I right? The most famous.
I do. Cool.
Was it actually? I don't.
That was on Raw, wasn't it?
Yeah, Triple H put a bounty on Goldberg. That's why Batista returned and like shattered his ankle or whatever.
I remember the bounty that was put on DX, and everybody kept trying to attack them, like in the toilets and stuff.
Is that? I feel like I remember Santino flying out of nowhere across Adam or something.
Yeah, there was like
right?
I think there was like a bunch of like different ones like that would accidentally like hit them. Like Shawn Michaels would close the toilet door and it would hit whoever was waiting in there.
Was that like the Chris Masters one when he was in the toilet?
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Holy shit, you crapped a masterpiece.
Oh wow.
That's very funny.
Moving it back to Test, this is the first time I got to hear his entrance music because I didn't watch any of the other stuff leading up to here. He has the most generic theme at this point, and he's wearing trunks instead of pants. He switched up his gear for his debut. What did you think of his attire here? It's not exactly great.
I've just got here shitty purple tights and shitty music. That's one whole note.
His music and his gear are basically what you just randomly slap on a creator superstar in the WWE games.
Yeah, you're running out of time. You just want to create them as quickly as possible.
You go into the entrance music and they're all just random fucking shitty guitar riffs. So you're just like, I'll put that one on. I'm just gonna skip the entrance anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair.
This one's for you, Pricey, but Val Venus hits a double axe handle, and so does Stone Cold.
Does he hit it off the second or the top?
I think they both went off the top. Val Venus might have went second, actually, but Stone Cold, he comes from the outside of the ring, and he goes off the top.
Well, that's the thing about these kids these days. They try to go to the top rope. You don't need to. You don't you go all flashy. Just get it off the second. That'll get enough damage.
Hit it flush.
It's better. You're better off doing it right.
My final note here was that the buzzer for the Royal Rumble, it sounds like an NBA buzzer and does not sound anything like the buzzer they have now. I absolutely hated the one that they were using here.
Yeah, it's more of a siren.
Yeah, it wasn't great on the ears.
No, it wasn't great. No.
You also can't really replicate that noise with your mouth, so it wouldn't have caught on like it has caught on in 2018.
That's one way to avoid people making the sound. I don't know why they would avoid or try to avoid people making the sound at the Royal Rumble, but you just change up the noise. People wouldn't do it anymore.
I reckon if people keep doing what they did in the that Iron Man match, they probably would change up the sound. That's something Vince would do.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. That's probably what that would make sense, actually.
So any final thoughts on Test's uneventful debut in the Royal Rumble?
Fuck no.
Yeah, I was glad to just be done with that one. It wasn't a great 12 minutes and 48 seconds to watch.
Not at all.
So in the coming month, Test is kind of just doing more corporation stuff, but he ends up suffering his first singles match pinfall loss on February 28th, 1999 on a Shotgun Saturday Night taping against Midian, which is a real random person to lose your first actual proper singles match to. Didn't expect that to be happening there. But despite that little bump in the road, Test has his first WrestleMania match and first championship match at WrestleMania 15 on March 28th, 1999. It sees Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart defeating D'Lo Brown and Test via pinfall in 3 minutes and 58 to retain the WWF Tag Team Championships. Dave Meltzer would give this 1.25 stars. And basically, Test and D'Lo Brown got this opportunity at the Tag Team Championships by winning a Battle Royal on Heat earlier in the night. And in the match, Test gets caught up arguing with Ivory and Deborah on the outside. This distracts the referee, and D'Lo Brown, meanwhile, in the ring, tries to hit his finish, but Owen nails him with a missile drop kick, which allows Jeff Jarrett to get a pin and the win, and afterwards Test and D'Lo brawl kind of sloppily on the outside and kind of half-heartedly. What did you guys think of this match?
Just a pretty sloppy Attitude Era tag match. They didn't back then. I think we've mentioned before, they don't really care about the in-ring work. It's more the stories and the characters and all that. So, I mean, the in-ring stuff wasn't very good, and we didn't really get to see a lot of Tests. So, it was sort of hard to judge his in-ring work and stuff like that. So, yeah, I couldn't really take much. And it just seemed like really two odd pairings. Both tag teams seemed really weird to put them together.
I know Jeff and Owen were together for a while.
Where were they?
Yeah.
They're still a random pairing. Why did they come together as a tag team?
Well, I think it started when Owen was doing Blue Blazer, and he got unmasked one week by what's the karate dude?
Steve Blackman.
Steve Steve Blackman. He unmasked Owen, and then so the next week,
The karate.
it just, next week it was Jeff Jarrett in the.
Do you mean Kung Fu Naki? Kung Fu Naki, I asked him.
Sure.
Sorry.
But yeah, it is a real random pairing. What did you think of the match, Nat?
I saw D'Lo Brown was in it when he was making his entrance, and then I turned it off. And so it looks like I saved 3 minutes 58.
I'm so confused why they even bothered to have this match on the card. Like, it's a 4-minute match, and
Who gives a fuck? Had no build.
Literally thrown together. Like, I still don't know why Test and D'Lo Brown were a tag team. Like, commentary never explains why. Because D'Lo Brown, I can't remember. I think Mark Henry was his tag partner, and Mark Henry got injured like a while ago. And then they said, "Oh, D'Lo Brown was determined to still win the tag titles or something." But they never explain why Test just randomly joins D'Lo Brown. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
I wasn't paying close enough attention to hear them say that, so I got no idea.
Like, you would think if you want to Test in a tag team title match at WrestleMania, you could. There's so many people in the corporation. Surely you could find someone to throw in there with him.
Pete Gas.
They have. Is this the one where Mean Street Posse are at ringside, sitting in the crowd?
It might be.
I think it's that
remember.
one.
It definitely could be.
They should not be sitting on the sidelines.
I should be in there.
Yeah, my thoughts on the match was that like it barely gets a chance to actually be a match, and it's definitely not a great way for Test to have his WrestleMania debut. Things would get worse though in a year's time though, so I guess at WrestleMania 16 people would have been begging for this match.
Stay tuned.
I thought this whole match kind of makes Test look like a goober. Just not a real good look for him here. Although he does finally have proper entrance music and he's wearing better attire, even though he wears a lame as fuck "Guns don't kill people, I kill people" t-shirt. I think I'm going to look up after this episode on eBay if anybody's selling a shirt like that.
Isn't that from Happy Gilmore? Mr. Larson wears it.
Does he wear that shirt?
It's the orange shirt. It says "Guns." Was it orange?
Test, the one that he was wearing was black.
Oh, it's black.
Oh no, it's in Happy Gilmore. It's orange.
The Happy Gilmore one is orange and looks way cooler than the lame knockoff one that Test has. He must be a big Gilmore fan. I want to see if I can find a picture of Test wearing it. Nope, I cannot.
I highly doubt it.
But it's not great. At least he has proper entrance music and proper attire, though. Michael Cole also still is mentioning that Test was a Motley Crüe bodyguard, and this is in late March of 1999. So they really, really wanted to stretch out and keep getting across the fact that he was a bodyguard for Motley Crüe on Sunday Night Heat once. So does anybody have any final thoughts on the WrestleMania debut of Test?
We should not complain about WrestleMania matches nowadays.
Yeah, that's one thing I've discovered over the years when I've watched WrestleManias prior to WrestleMania 17, I'd say. It's like, when people were like, oh, seeing Roman win the championship, oh, this is the worst fucking WrestleMania of all time. It's like, nah. Even if you hate like all of the story decisions and who goes over, the in-ring quality is still a million times better than like all of the earlier WrestleManias.
More often than not, matches are actually thought out and booked with somewhat logic, compared to this, definitely. So, yeah.
Imagine if this match was on a WrestleMania in the past 5 years. Like, fans would go nuts. They'll be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, they'd shit on it, for sure.
I was glad to be done with it. I was glad it was only 4 minutes, because if they had to stretch that out, it would have been even worse. So
4 minutes too long.
We then move on to Test's first pay-per-view win, which came at Over the Edge 1999 on May 23. It sees Ken Shamrock, Mankind, Test, and The Big Show, which is the corporation, defeating Big Boss Man, Bradshaw, Farouk, and Viscera via submission in 14 minutes and 58 seconds. So this is the unfortunate night where Owen Hart dies. And at the start of the pay-per-view on the network, it has a tribute to Owen that says, "In memory of Owen Hart, who accidentally passed away during this broadcast." And I just thought that sounded fucking, like, so absurd, the phrasing of that. Like, he accidentally passed away. Like, I don't know why, I just found that so weird.
Don't do it again, Owen.
It's like, Owen Hart accidentally passed away. Oh, silly Owen. Like,
Yeah, you're right,
surely
that
you
does sound
put, like,
stupid.
Owen Hart who tragically passed away or something, not accidentally.
Yeah, that's bad wording, actually, now that you said that.
It kind of sounds like the WWF, like, trying to cover their ass. They're like, oh, it was an accident, you know? It wasn't our fault. Anyway, so this is an elimination match, which Pro Fight Database didn't tell me, so I went into it, and I was very confused because Test gets pinned about 2 minutes in. I'm like, oh, that's a quick match. I thought it's supposed to go 15 minutes, but no, Test just gets eliminated with a clothesline from Hell by Bradshaw. And JR goes completely silent at one point during this match, which, like, knowing that, like, Owen Hart had died, like, it's understandable. I kind of thought that, like, because he goes silent for about 2 minutes and King calls the match by himself. So I was thinking this might be where he finds out Owen's dead, but I couldn't really find out where, like, what point in the card he makes that announcement. And I think they've cut it out of the network version, so I couldn't know. Do either of you know where they announced that he's dead?
No,
I don't know.
like, wouldn't Owen dies, like, wait, when does he... I thought it was, like, as he was going to make his entrance that he passed away.
What do you mean?
Owen Hart, when he died.
Yeah, he makes his entrance and he falls and he...
Yeah, so wouldn't JR have been out there? Wouldn't he have seen it happen?
Yeah, but, like...
Yeah, but they didn't know he died.
They didn't know he died.
Oh,
Because he died in the hospital.
Because later on,
like, JR
they
didn't know
announced
it.
that he died. And I couldn't
Okay.
figure out where, like, Owen, they, like, give the news to JR and he makes that announcement.
Okay, yeah, I thought you meant, like, JR found out that it happened. I was like, no, he fucking would have saw it. But
Yeah.
no, that makes sense. Okay. I
Like,
got you.
I searched through, like, all of the breaks in between matches on the network, and there's definitely no announcement, so I'm pretty sure they've cut it out.
Yeah, they would have just cut it out.
So I was the only one who covered this because there was no way that we were all covering 40 fucking odd matches for Test. So I'm the only one with notes here, I assume. I don't think anyone else has watched this random match from Over the Edge 99.
Definitely not.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Nat to have watched it.
I have not seen this.
Oh, well, it's not great. Test is once again treated like a glorified jobber for the corporation. He gets beat in literally like 2 or 3 minutes from a clothesline from Hell. Yeah, Test has changed his ring gear again here. He's back to what he was wearing at the Royal Rumble. I don't know why he's changed it. It's really dumb. Big Show actually jumps over the top rope to get into the ring, which I thought was really impressive. I didn't know Big Show could move that well, especially considering, like, in a couple years he would be like 500 pounds, which is fucked.
Jump over it.
He literally, literally jumps over the rope, like, to get in the ring. Something like
That's impressive.
you would think, like, a cruiserweight would do. I'm like, I did not expect that. Speaking of fat people, Viscera fucking disgusts me.
No, it gets worse. When he's Big Daddy V, it's much worse.
Just everything about Viscera, every incarnation of him, absolutely disgusting.
What about the world's largest love machine?
That disgusted me the most when he would hump the dude in the ass. And then he was in love with Lillian Garcia. That doesn't make any sense.
Poor thing.
Also, Test does his top rope elbow drop, which he kind of uses as a finish throughout this time, and nobody really makes a big deal about it. And when whoever he does it to kicks out of it, there's no real big deal made out of it. So I was confused whether that was supposed to be like his finish or not. I know it wasn't really clear. And just overall, I'm pretty sure that this pay-per-view had never been released to the public until the network became a thing. And, like, the whole vibe over this show is so just weird to watch. Like, the crowd does not give a fuck about anything that's going on. And there's, like, some pretty big names here. Like, they got Mankind in there.
You're missing something out of this.
What am I missing out of this?
They're called the Union.
Is that what they're called? I remember they gave them a.
I think they were around for like 2 months or a month.
Are they called the Union?
Yep.
I thought, weren't they part of the Ministry? Why did they get a different name?
Because they were just a faction together. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
Can't
Because
remember.
at the Royal Rumble, the Ministry like kidnap Viscera when he's Mabel, and I assume they
I
turn him
remember.
into Viscera. That's weird. They have a stable within a stable. But yeah, this match is really like not entertaining at all. Partly because of the in-ring quality, partly because the crowd just couldn't care less because they just saw a man die before their eyes. And yeah, it's nothing to report on from Test's perspective. So that leads us to Test's next significant moment, which is the SummerSlam 1999 match. Test defeating Shane McMahon via pinfall in 12 minutes and 4 seconds in a love her or leave her match. Meltzer gave it 3.5 stars. And Nat, you watched this one?
Oh no, this isn't just a love her or leave her match. It's a love her or leave her street fight.
That's an important detail I left out, actually.
It's a very important detail, but I just wanted to tell you guys and fucking rub it in your faces that I got the honor of watching, 3 of Test's best matches, 2 of which were they were 3.5 stars.
Yeah, his highest rated matches that we covered were 3.5 stars.
You cut out there.
The highest rated matches that we covered were 3.5 stars. I actually had in the fun facts section later on. His highest rated Dave Meltzer match was 3.75 stars. He had that against RVD on one of the ECW episodes I think it might have been an Extreme Rules match. But yeah,
Well,
3.75 stars at the end of his career.
The highest match you guys got to watch was a 2 3/4. Both of you got to watch.
They were barn
So
burners.
eat a fucking dick. I don't know if you did that on purpose because I like shit wrestling. So you actually gave me the good ones to watch. But when Test makes his entrance, the crowd actually goes fucking nuts. Don't know fucking why.
Test was kind of over at this point.
He was. Then the Mean Street Posse come out. They all had fake bandages on them. And then they fucking come out and sit in the crowd, but there's a couch waiting for them.
Oh, kind of like the Greatest Royal Rumble.
And then they're surrounded by random households. They're sitting. It's like a room.
What?
Yeah, it's like a room, but it's got like a lamp with them. There's an interesting story about this couch in a later match I do. Match starts with Test brutally spearing Shane on the outside. Test is still pretty green, I said. And why the fuck did they put him with Shane? Can't really work either.
Yeah, is this Shane's first match? Does anyone know?
I think it's one of first matches.
I'll have a look while you continue to tell us about this.
Then I say Shane then hits Test with a portrait of the Mean Street Posse, and the glass fucking explodes everywhere into the crowd. Shane does his typical elbow drop through the table. Test wins, crowd goes fucking nuts and fucking slobbers on with Stephanie.
So he doesn't have to leave her.
Exactly, and then not long after they're going to get engaged.
You lovebirds.
I just did some research. Shane had a bunch of matches before the Love Her or Leave Her match, apparently.
Well, he fucking sucked.
Yeah, he had a match he won the European Championship.
Fucking hell.
Wow, in his second match as well. Jesus Christ, I didn't know that was a thing.
It was an alright match. Didn't think it was 3.5 stars, if I'm honest, but it was pretty good.
I feel like, does Shane do any like real crazy spots here?
Just the elbow drop.
Just that? I feel like,
And they're just throwing weapons at each other's heads.
I feel like the novelty of Shane McMahon just like not giving a fuck about what happens to his body is why he gets like matches rated that highly. He just doesn't give a fuck, and people are like, oh yeah, it was a good match. He fucking tried to kill himself.
That's why we all watch.
So yeah, moving on.
That leads us to a even better occasion, I'd say, because it's Test's first World Championship match, and if you don't count the ECW Championship as a world title, and I don't know why you would, because that was never really a world title, I think this is his only World Championship match. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably only singles one, definitely.
So this happens on the November 8th, 1999 episode of Monday Night Raw. Triple H defeats Test via countout in 10 minutes and 28 seconds to retain the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. So we have Shane McMahon as the guest referee here, and Vince is the guest timekeeper. Apparently Shane is cool with this marriage now because he's doing fast counts for Test. And when we covered the first episode of SmackDown where Stephanie McMahon gives her answer to Test's marriage proposal, Shane's still not cool with Test marrying her, so apparently things have changed in between that time. Triple H hits a pedigree, but Shane refuses to count the pinfall, which leads to Triple H attacking both McMahons. Vince hits Triple H with the belt and pulls Test on top of him, but Triple H still manages to kick out. Test hits the pump handle slam and goes to the ropes to hit an elbow drop. However, Road Dogg comes onto the Titantron, and he's backstage showing Stephanie essentially being raped by DX, and Test leaves and chases after them, which means he loses by count out. What did you guys think of Test's, first real shot in the main event?
Well, when did fucking Lillian Garcia get the power to say that she can say that Test was counted out?
Yeah, I found that so weird. Like, just randomly, she comes on and she's like, "Oh, Test fucking loses."
Like, there was no referee, but she's just like, "Oh, he lost because he's counted out."
Yeah, he tells Lillian Garcia.
Like, did you do the count out, Lillian? Did you count? No, you didn't. Well, you don't know if you fucking got counted out.
I feel like Test loses a championship match by count out later on and gets a rematch for no reason. So I think he really should have got a rematch for this too.
I mean, I don't even know if he technically got counted out. No, Shane was the ref. He didn't count to 10, so...
This match is still going.
Another match that's still going.
It's never going to end now because Test's buried.
So Triple H wins by default, I guess. Stone Cold backstage wasn't watching from the weird, awkward angle that everyone else watches TV from.
I mentioned that as well. Both Stone Cold and The Rock get shown, and they're watching TV like a normal person. Even The Rock's sitting down on a couch.
But that couch. Where have I seen that couch before? That is literally the exact same couch the Mean Street Posse was sitting on from SummerSlam 99.
Oh, bloody hell, that couch is getting a workout as much as the bloody casting couch.
The more you fucking know.
Well, you're not going to waste a good couch. Why would you?
Don't know. I think you guys will sleep well knowing that.
It was a real 90s type couch as well, wasn't it? Like, it was real gross, pattern on it.
Yeah.
Really fits out The Rock to a T there.
It was kind of like our old couch at Tokemore.
Oh, yeah, that was garbage, man.
One thing I wanted to know was, so obviously, the McMahons and Test, they're trying to, they're being all heels and trying to take the title off Triple H. But then DX tried to rape Stephanie. So who are the heels?
Well, the crowd's cheering like crazy for Test.
It's fucking bad.
So I didn't get it. I didn't get who was the face and the heel.
I want to go out on a limb and say, I don't know if either of you know, but I feel like that wasn't Stephanie. They were pretending that was Stephanie. They were saying China was Stephanie or something.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it was her.
Because I
have no idea.
I know it's the Attitude Era, but you can't make DX the faces if they're doing that. That's crossing the line a bit too much.
Yeah, no, that's a bit far.
It's yeah, we raped the boss's daughter.
Suck it.
Personally, I thought the match wasn't too bad overall, but it's here mostly to push along the storyline even more, so it's really not about the wrestling at all. I think the most significant thing that comes out of this is that Test is back to wearing his cool leather pants.
The most important thing.
Now we can step over the top rope in ease.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the trunk splitting or anything and his junk coming out. He's got those nice loose-fitting pants. He can do his big boot, with ease.
That's what we all want.
Also, I think the important thing to notice here is that Test is over with the ladies. Every time Test would do something, he'd get a pop, but it was clearly just women.
The Roman Reigns of the late 90s.
It really was. If this kind of Test was around in 2018, he would definitely be getting pushed to the moon.
Yeah, that's fair.
So do we have any final thoughts on Test's first World Championship match?
Nope.
Solid match, nothing special, but...
Well, then that leads us to arguably the most iconic and notable and memorable moment of Test's career, which is him marrying Stephanie McMahon on the November 29th, 1999 episode of Monday Night Raw. So it's actually a pretty straightforward wedding here until Triple H shows up and kind of shows the iconic clip of him and Stephanie getting married. The only thing that's out of the blue here is the random fucking live musical performance.
I have no idea what that is.
Were you caught off guard by that?
Very. I have it written down here. Who the fuck is that? Is that a thing that they have at weddings? They just have a random people just start playing in the middle of nothing.
Look, I've been to 2 weddings in my life, and I don't think either of them had random musical performances, so I don't think so.
Yeah,
I feel like, Nat, you've been to a lot of weddings, haven't you?
Well, I've been to a couple of these days.
Was there a random live musical performance before they said their vows?
Not really. Just one. Somehow, Brooke was singing, but
What?
nah, she got the gig to sing at someone's wedding.
Actually, at the wedding?
That's the closest. Yeah. That's the closest I've
I
got.
didn't know that was a thing.
Can't say I had the DX band play.
They should have hired this group. That was the guy singing wasn't too bad, but the chick singing was god awful.
Oh man, I skipped it. I saw live music. I'm like, I don't have to watch this. This isn't Test.
I watched the whole thing. It goes on for so long. It's like a full song, 3+ minutes.
I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not fucking watching some random band. Fuck it.
So after that, Triple H obviously shows up, shows that he has drugged Stephanie and married her, and then Test chases after him. So what did we think of this iconic segment?
Nat would know more about this than I would, but I feel like, was Bruce Bridger talking about how she had amnesia or something?
Well, let's let Brandon say his bad shit.
I know this. I think it was like Ken Shamrock or something, like hit her with a can and she had amnesia.
Yep.
I remember reading that in the research I did.
Well, I can go into it right now if you want me to.
Just rattle it off.
Well, the whole thing was Test was told by Vince pretty quickly.
You cut out there. You're going to have to repeat that.
Sorry?
Cut out a crucial moment.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw my mic. Test was apparently told by Vince that he was going to win the world title at some stage, like pretty soon after this. But then I think it was that Vince didn't really like his character. So until they knew what to actually do, they did the amnesia thing.
Yeah, you saying that actually kind of makes sense, because I noted here in my kind of like my thoughts on the segment is that I like this segment, but it never leads to anything meaningful for Test, because this whole kind of storyline for him just fizzles out and then suddenly he's in TNA. So that definitely does make sense that Vince wasn't too high on his character, and it would make sense that his story would just kind of go away, be swept under the rug.
That bloody brass ring fucking evaporated.
Just clawing for that brass ring.
Also, Nat, I tried to remember something about Vince Russo either liking or not liking Test, and I've completely forgotten.
Vince Russo was a Test guy.
He was, yeah?
He was one of the testicles.
He loved a bit of Test.
I should have done more research, but I can't remember. I only listened to it last night.
Did you guys take notice of who was in Test's wedding party?
Yes, I did. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that there would be, like, they went full on with like groomsmen and bridesmaid for this one. At
first, I noted down because they have the backstage like little portion where like Test is with the Stooges and Shane and Vince, and I thought it was pretty sad. I'm like, wow, Test actually doesn't have any friends, and his like wedding party is the Stooges and Vince and Shane. But then they come out with fucking Edge, Sean Stasiak, Christian, D'Lo Brown, Jeff Hardy, and Matt Hardy. I was very surprised that D'Lo Brown was there after the animosity they had at WrestleMania, but
they've made up.
I guess
they put it aside for love.
The Hardys getting a gig, that was surprising.
They're all good mates.
Christian and Edge made sense because they're a couple of Canadian boys.
Yeah, I was about to say Canadians.
Yeah, Jeff and Matt.
What about the bridesmaids? Do you reckon those are actually like picked out by Stephanie, or they're just like actresses or something?
Actresses, probably.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I was feeling like, or maybe they're just like didn't let Stephanie's friends in that it was a work. They're like, if we actually get married, come down, because it's a lot of actresses you would have to get to do this.
Probably got from strippers are us.
So I wanted to give a big shout out to Test walking down the aisle to "This Is a Test." That's can you imagine just showing up at your wedding and just playing that banger as you come down the aisle?
I have here. If I ever get married, that'll be what I want. I want a WWE theme playing in the background. I haven't thought of what I'm going to have yet. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura song or something like that.
Which version? The heel version?
Oh yeah, I want the Japanese dude singing.
I think I'm gonna have A Train or X Factor.
I might have Nathan Jones theme with the real hardcore didgeridoo.
Oh, nice.
And a real Australian touch. Did either of you notice how much Test was sweating during this segment?
He's getting married. He's nervous.
It was full dripping down on him, and I was feeling bad for him. He had to be in that.
She had amnesia. She didn't know why he loved him.
But Test is in the full tux, and I'm sure all the lights on him, it would have been fucking hot as hell in that.
Yeah, that'd be brutal.
So I was feeling a little bad for him. Also, did either of you know that Triple H he has 2 lines for his live promo, and he just basically stumbles over the entire thing?
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better on the mic than this, but I thought it was just a classic stitch up by Triple H.
Really
I have
was.
a fun fact.
Go on.
Do you remember Bruce Pritchard said Triple H filmed that whole thing by?
Did
Did
he?
he
No one produced it with him.
really?
That's pretty good.
Him and Steph went to Vegas and they filmed it.
That's
And the dude in the car. I can't remember
the
his name.
random black dude who was apparently the bartender.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Because King mentions it, he's like, "Oh,
You need
that
a
was the
witness."
bartender from the Bachelorette party." I'm like, how the fuck do you remember that?
Oh, that's so good.
But yeah, the whole taped segment that Triple H does is actually pretty funny. So I'll give him credit for that. It's actually a really good segment.
Yeah, I have that here. I enjoyed seeing that back. That was pretty good.
My final note about it though was nice hat, Triple H, you fucking dork.
Yeah, that was his go-to back then, though.
That was such an ugly hat. Why would Stephanie want to be with that?
Well, she didn't.
Was Stephanie and Triple H dating in real life at this period, or had that not happened yet?
They talk about on the podcast. Apparently, China claims she found a love letter in 2001 that dated back to 99. But Bruce Pritchard said that couldn't be right
Really? Why couldn't that be right? How the fuck does Bruce know?
because they had a good life. No one had known for 2 years straight that they were dating. They were the best workers in history.
I reckon, I'm calling it now, this night when Triple H and Stephanie went to Vegas to film this is when the romance blossomed.
You reckon they consummated the marriage?
Ooh, Triple H was telling her to suck it that night.
Stickiness.
Yeah, the hotel room was getting a little sticky. So do we have any final thoughts on the Test trying to marry Stephanie McMahon segment?
No, I just used my consummate the marriage line, so that's all I had left.
End on a strong point.
Yeah.
So the next significant thing to happen in Test's career would come in January of 2000 on the January 17th episode of Monday Night Raw. It was his first singles championship win, Test defeating the Big Boss Man via pinfall in 4 minutes and 15 seconds to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. And so in the match, they brawl backstage almost immediately here, and Test's nose gets busted open. Albert attempts to interfere in the match, but he gets hit with a trash can by Big Boss Man. Albert then goes after him again in the ring, allowing Test to hit him with the nightstick, and then he hits an elbow drop with the nightstick to get the win. What did you guys think of this match?
Fairly standard Attitude Era hardcore match. Just quickly at the start, I think they play a little, not like a video package, but something comes up on the Titan Shrine. Is that is that something for Taz or something like that? you guys pick up on that?
Nope.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm blanking on what you're talking about here.
Never mind then.
I remember them recapping why Albert turned on Big Boss Man, and that apparently Albert was going to be Big Boss Man's protege.
That would have been cool.
But yeah, I don't remember anything to do with Taz.
I'll try and find it for you guys, but I just have here like I'd be interested to see what a hardcore title, like something similar to the hardcore title, would look like today, like how, like who would be wrestling in it and stuff like that. Like,
You know what it would look like?
Zack Ryder, maybe.
You know what it would look like?
What?
It would look like Dean Ambrose's slingshot.
Dean Ambrose's what?
Slingshot clothesline. No, the one you hate, and he bounces off the second rope.
Why would it look like that? Because it's garbage.
Because Dean Ambrose is hardcore, man.
No, Dean Ambrose is too high up on the card to be in the hardcore division. It would be guys like Ty Dillinger and shit. Like, oh, he's gonna fucking do his fucking Uranagi through a table or some shit.
Mike Kanellis could use his baby as a weapon.
So I thought this was a decent hardcore match. It wasn't really anything memorable, but I'm sure it, got the crowd going in the Attitude Era. They fucking thrived on seeing this kind of shit. I think my most significant note here was that Test is a deathmatch guy now.
Yeah, he's big into hardcore matches.
But yeah, he really is like a hardcore guy throughout this period. He's one of the main people in the hardcore division, along with like Big Boss Man, Crash Holly. I think and Rhino's probably another significant one. Raven winning the hardcore title 300 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say Raven.
21.
I'm sorry, I was just reading my notes here, and I originally wrote just a couple of dead hosses going at it, because both Test and Big Boss Man are dead, but my autocorrect has changed it.
Was it autocorrect or was it me?
Was that you that changed it?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, now it's changed it to just a couple of dead horses.
I originally changed it to dead hoses. That was better.
Oh, that's just caught me off guard. Oh, just a couple of dead horses going at it. Oh. Whew. So Tester's also here. He's back to wearing the skin tight shirts that you hated so much, Pricey.
Yeah, not great.
And I think it had his stupid fucking crucifix Test symbol.
Yeah, I've got the match up now to try and find the Taz thing, so I don't sound like a dickhead. But yeah, it did. It's got the big cross thing on it on the front.
I thought that Big Boss Man smashing the light out when they go backstage, and so like everything was like pitch black. I thought that was a pretty cool spot. And I still want to know that after Test wins the match, and he's clearly helped by Albert, he hits Albert with the nightstick. I just want to know why he does that. Like, what's the point? I just don't get it.
Initially, when I saw Albert out there, I thought it was going to be like the forming of TNA, but I was wrong, I suppose. Unless I don't know. I don't think they reformed after this.
No, they wait a little bit longer. I've actually mentioned when they become a team. It's in about March, I'd say.
Yeah.
So still a while away. Have you figured out this Taz thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna screen record the little part that it is. I'm gonna send it to you guys, but we'll move on.
So now, do you have any other thoughts on this hardcore match?
Not really, no.
Oh fuck, I'm next. Sorry, I'll delay that. That's good.
We'll come back to it. So yes, the next significant moment in Test's career is the 2000 Royal Rumble, which takes place on January 23. And Test is entering the Royal Rumble at 10. He's eliminated by the Big Show. Test actually gets to eliminate a person this year, and he lasts 26 minutes and 17 seconds, which he was the marathon man of the 2000 Royal Rumble because he was in the match the longest of anybody. And Pricey covered this, so give us your thoughts.
This is the first time like he's actually wearing like the pants, but he's not wearing like the shitty shirt with it that I covered anyway. Did you guys know the British Bulldog was in this match?
I knew British Bulldog returned.
Yeah,
this
he'd be
time,
wearing jeans.
but I don't remember him being in this match. I've seen this Royal Rumble a lot.
For some reason, he's in jeans and he's in the match, which I didn't know. If I had the option, I would have opted for the condensed version of this test appearance, because honestly, I mean, he helps. I mean, you've got there, he eliminates one person, but he helps eliminate Rikishi along with 5 other people.
Is that his one elimination?
That doesn't fucking count.
Because like that happened, and then I'm waiting towards the end. He got eliminated. I'm like, who the fuck did he eliminate? I had to go back, and it was Rikishi with 5 other people.
Have a shit one.
One thing that happened that really popped me was, so Jericho's come in, and then Tess from behind kicks him, and Jericho didn't notice that he got kicked from behind, so he just sold it. He walked off. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's all the, like I said before, the spots where you're in the corner pretending to eliminate someone, and he was like halfway out of the ring. He was like hung up on the top rope with Gangrel trying to eliminate him, and then the Big Show came in, kicked him, and he went over the top rope, and that was it. So I just had that was a fitting way to get rid of him. He was like half over, no one was really noticing him, and then Big Show came in and just finished the job off. So,
well, he was the marathon man that year, so...
He was definitely in there for a long time. I had to watch the whole thing. It was fucking nightmare.
Who's number 30 that year? Is it Big Show that's number 30?
I don't know. It wasn't Big
Or
Show.
is it
He was
Rock?
like 26.
It's number
I stopped
30.
watching because Big Show.
Yeah,
came
it's
in at
Rock.
26.
Is it? Yes.
Pretty sure it's Rock.
Yeah, I think so.
I've watched that Royal Rumble a fair few times.
They're both pretty late, so Test, he's down to the end. I think some people in the crowd would probably be going, "Ooh, is Test going to win? Is this when they strap the Rockers to Test?" And unfortunately, no. He just eliminates Rikishi with a bunch of other wrestlers.
Yeah, I was expecting something bigger, but that's all I got.
So was I. I was expecting when I saw that he lasted almost half an hour. I'm like, oh, Pricey's getting a good one here. Apparently not.
No, it was pretty lame. I would have thought 26 minutes. I was hoping he'd do something big, but yeah.
Hey, did Kai and Ty at least interfere in that time?
I got to see them at least 3 times. Actually, the last time they came in, it was just Funaki because Taka. I don't know.
He got cast.
Taco's fucking dead, man. He eats shit. He's out for ages after that.
Yeah, so I got to see them a couple times.
So I guess that leads us to Test, who by the way was still the hardcore champion during that match. So that's probably why he got to be in for so long. He was a champion. You got to respect him.
Cool.
But he would unfortunately lose his hardcore championship about a month later on February 24 in the year 2000 on an episode of SmackDown. Crash Holly defeated Test via pinfall in 3 minutes and 58 seconds to win the WWF Hardcore Championship, and I was the sole person covering this one. So before the match, Crash Holly is arguing with Hardcore Holly, and he shoves him over in the backstage area. Crash then, during the match, sprays Test with a fire extinguisher. Hardcore Holly comes down to the ring and kind of watches for a bit. He's holding a steel chair. Then Hardcore Holly attempts to hit Crash with the chair, but it accidentally hits Test instead. And then Crash crawls through his legs to get the pin and get the win. And Hardcore Holly kind of plays it off as if he was trying to help Crash and as if he wanted that to be the outcome. Really, this match isn't that great. I think the best part of it is that Crash is like bumping all over the place. He's really selling for Test, and he takes some pretty gnarly bumps. I think that's basically the best part of it, because otherwise everything else is not that memorable. I think this might be Crash's first hardcore championship win though, so it's kind of notable for that. The only other note I had here was that Test pulls up the ring apron at one point, and it shows that they've literally just put the SmackDown apron over the top of the Sunday Night Heat one. Like, they haven't even removed the Heat apron. It's just sitting there. So I thought that was pretty lazy from the WWE. But, yeah, it's an average hardcore match. Test loses the title in 4 minutes, so not a whole lot to talk about. Which moves us onto the kind of TNA era of his career. And it's not the TNA portion of his career that happens in 2007 when he's wrestling on Impact. So Trish Stratus makes her WWF debut in March of 2000, and she on one episode of Heat she scouts both Test and Albert, and this leads to the formation of TNA. Meltzer would write, "Anyway, this team isn't for them. It's mostly being used as a platform to give Trish a big promotional push since they see dollar signs with her. Speaking of Trish, the TNA idea wasn't the first idea they had for her. The original idea was for her to play a porn star and be affiliated with Val Venus, but she refused to go along with that idea."
Be a fucking team player.
I need some thoughts from you guys. Better or worse? That porn star gimmick, would that have been better or worse than TNA?
Couldn't they just do a porn star gimmick with TNA?
Oh, combo.
They could have combined them. Yeah.
Tag team.
But I can't blame Trish for being like, nah, I'm not going to do the porn star gimmick. And she turned out all right in the end. So
Good for her for standing up for herself this early on in the company.
I know, how's the balls on her to be just like, no, fuck off, I'm not doing that storyline. And she would have been real young at that point, and she's just started in the wrestling business, so good on her.
She did well.
So the formation of TNA takes us to the next moment in Test's career, which is the Tag Team Championship match at King of the Ring 2000 on June 25. It sees Christian and Edge defeating Too Cool, who were the reigning champions, the Hardy Boys and TNA in a fatal 4-way elimination tag match via pinfall in 14 minutes and 11 seconds, as I mentioned, to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Meltzer would give this match 2 3/4 stars, and Nathan is the one who covered it.
Straight up, fun fact. The entrances went longer than Test being in the...
Wow, is this another example
They
of
get
Test being
squashed.
eliminated first?
Literally, Edge and Christian and Too Cool, they just stand on the outside for the start of the match. Then the Hardys eliminate them. But I said, how good's that Test King of the Ring figure I had?
It was one of my favorites.
Why did it come with the King of the Ring stand?
Even though he lost his arm, and in the middle of planning out all the matches we were going to watch, a thought occurred to me. I'm like, surely there's a King of the Ring match in here,
this is it
to watch because of it. But yeah, he had a tag match.
And also, I'm trying to find a new. They go for about $150.
Wow,
that's the cheapest one. So there's a birthday present for me. Anyone on the podcast? I might be a little biased, but this team is go. This is before I watched the match, mind you. I wrote these notes. But Hardys get a fucking mega pop because all they do is fucking flippy doos. Also said the tag belts have never looked worse on a pair of guys. It's too cool.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen Too Cool wearing the belts.
They look fucking goobers. And Scottish Hardy's wearing shorts.
Wow.
Shitty shorts. And I said, Albert's a goober, drags down fucking... I live for Test Big Boot, and then, they're eliminated.
I'm looking.
It was not a great match.
They don't look that bad wearing them. I'm having a look at them now. They don't look too bad.
Nah.
Scotty Too Hotty and Rikishi look a lot better when they're wearing the SmackDown tag belts.
Exactly. I just thought they were lame, and match wasn't great. Because I literally turned it off as soon as they lost.
So that leads us into the next match, which is a pay-per-view match at Fully Loaded 2000 on July 23. It says Team Extreme defeating TNA and Trish Stratus pitiful in 13 minutes and 12 seconds in a 6-man tag match. Meltzer gives it 2 3/4 stars. But before Pricey gets into covering that, I wanted to say I watched your video that you sent through, and I'm very confused by Taz's Titantron video apparently starts playing then. What's the go there?
Okay, so now that I watched it back a second time, I'm just assuming that they fucked up and they started playing Taz's entrance.
But why did they
play? A vignette.
Why were they playing an entrance at all? Big Boss Man and Test were both there now. They didn't play anything.
It baffled me. I was like, oh. I thought it was a thing, they were both there, but then, what's this mysterious... it says 13, yeah?
Yeah.
So I was like, what's this 13 mean?
When I looked at it, I thought it might have been they're leading up to him debuting kind of like the Jericho when they had the Millennium Countdown.
Yeah. He's probably already in the company by this point, so they're probably just fucked up. Anyway, do you want me to get into this?
Yeah, get into Fully Loaded 2000.
Well, the main focus, I believe this was the opening match from memory. If not, it was the second match. And before the match, they play a little video package, but it's all focused around Lita and Trish. So the men were sort of an afterthought at this point. The crowd was hot for it, but they were pretty much just chanting for Lita and Trish. The crowd at one point was chanting, "We want puppies."
Wow.
Which sums up the Attitude Era pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, Test attempts another top rope elbow drop, which I'm guessing is, you said before, that must be one of his finishes.
It's his super finisher. No one can ever kick out of it, except whoever kicked out of it at fucking Owen Hart's Dead, the pay-per-view.
But honestly, I really enjoyed this match. The crowd was hot for it, whether it was for, because of the match or because of the women, I don't know. But it was a fun match. All six played a pretty good part in it. All the women, or both women, they both really told the show, really. Lita with the Hurricane Rana and stuff like that. And it wasn't like a mixed tag match like they have now. It wasn't women versus women, men versus men. Like Lita got in there and she took down Test and Albert. So there's something going on here that Nathan's laughing about. Stop making fun of my notes, man.
No, we're just writing notes,
Sorry, I just read that.
Does anyone want to read out that that note that we've all just been adding on to?
I'll do it. I started off, he looks like money, the Bobby Lashley quote, and then turned into, he looks like cummies, he smells like smelly. That's because he is smelly. And then Brandon added my wife, Jan. My wife, Jan. What about my dog, King? What about Jan?
Oh, that's fucked up. Oh, goodness me.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun match overall. The ladies showed out. They stole the show. But after the match, TNA beat up the Hardys after they lost, and that was about it.
So were you saying that Trish Stratus wasn't the drizzling shits in a match that she had in 2000?
Well, she wasn't great, but
she was serviceable because she was really fucking bad at the start.
She was. You could tell that, because I watched this post Evolution today, so even now, you can tell that she's obviously more experienced and she knows what she's doing. At this point, she didn't really know what she was doing, but she wasn't terrible, and I think the guys and Lita carried her through, and the spots that she was in, she did semi decently.
Did she point to the crowd?
No, she just stood there and they cheered. That's all she needed to do.
That's all she needed to do in 2000.
Yeah, no, she was wearing some attire that was revealing, would be the word. Good for her. She did well.
So, as I kind of mentioned earlier, after Test has his little thing with Stephanie McMahon, that fizzles out, they go into TNA, and he kind of dicks around in TNA for a bit until that ends, and then he doesn't really do anything of significance after this Fully Loaded pay-per-view until the 2001 Royal Rumble on January 21, where he's in the Royal Rumble match, and Test enters at 22, again another great spot, but unfortunately he's eliminated by the Big Show again, and he makes one elimination this time, which is pretty impressive considering he lasts 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So basically here what happens, Test gets in the ring and almost immediately throws William Regal over the top rope, and that's essentially just to continue the feud that they had going, which we'll get to more in the next match here. But then Big Show makes his return from, I'm going to assume, from injury, and he immediately clotheslines Test out of the ring once he enters. There's not a whole lot to say about Test's performance here, really. He lasts 2 minutes. K-Quick is in the ring when Test comes out, which I thought was, something to really mention. K-Quick and Road Dogg get rowdy.
Get rowdy.
And Test finally has cool pants, is what I said. So
Nice.
there's really not much to say. He runs in, eliminates Regal, does the classic, pretend to try and eliminate people in the corner, and then Big Show comes out and eliminates him. So
One of the toughest questions to ask all of us after doing this would be, what was Test's best Royal Rumble match?
fucking none of them. They're all shit.
I don't know if he did anything of note in any.
Yeah, he even he had a couple like that where he had like a lot of time in the ring, didn't do anything of note. It's really impressive for him to get all that time and then still barely do anything. But yeah, that appearance in the Royal Rumble sucks, which leads us to a much better moment, which happens literally the next night on January 22nd on Monday Night Raw. Test defeats William Regal via pinfall to win the WWF European Championship. And this is really kind of like his first proper singles title, because I guess the hardcore title really doesn't count. I mean, one of the Godfather's hoes won it, so it's not really the most prestigious. So before the match here, Regal cuts a promo saying that Test has been a thorn in his side and that he's going to hack him up. So Test runs straight to the ring and starts throwing down, and he kind of just basically squashes Regal, and then eventually he hits the top rope elbow drop for the win. What did you guys think of this match that's really over in an instance?
Regal didn't pass this test. That's about it. One lot to write about. Just a fired up babyface Test. Just a real quick boy. That's about it.
What about you, Nat?
Oh, I actually watched this and I didn't have any notes.
Yeah, I only had a couple of things to mention here. This really isn't a match. It's just a squash here. And I know Regal had a lot of drug issues at this point, so I'm just assuming that he got squashed here because he had more issues backstage. That's what I'm going to write it off as. The other note that I had is, why is Test wearing a black armband that says Morley on it? And he points to it after he's walking backstage.
That was the other note I had. I hope it's not for Chief Morley, our favourite Chief.
Yeah, like, what other Morley is there?
I don't know, because his name's... I'm pretty sure Val Venus' name is actually... So...
Maybe he had a brother that died or something?
Maybe. But, yeah, I'm not too sure.
I'm going to do a quick Google search, see if I can uncover anything here. Test black armband on Raw in a pro wrestling group on Google. Here we go.
Yeah. It's important to know.
Let's have a look. I'm hoping this works. This seems like a dodgy link, but fuck, man, this is taking an age to load.
Come on, man, we need this. The podcast is writing on this.
This is from 2001. Okay. Joe Keeser says, I missed the beginning of Raw. Did they announce anything about Val Venus? Sean Morley? ? Test was wearing a black armband during his match against Regal and slapped it a couple of times while on camera. And they're fucking... Val Venus' mum passed away, unfortunately.
There you go.
This guy says, Val's mum died. I'll assume they're good friends. Val's sister married Test's old friend Edge, plus the two have worked together for a couple of years. Okay, makes sense. The Canadians got to stick together.
Yeah, they're all pals. And
that solves the case of the mysterious black armband, the most interesting thing about Test winning the European title. A much more entertaining, I'm going to assume, European title match happens at WrestleMania 17 on April 1st, 2001. It sees Eddie Guerrero defeating Test via pinfall in 8 minutes and 30 seconds to win the WWF European Championship. Meltzer gives it 2.25 stars, and Nat is covering that one.
I am, and this got 2 stars because Eddie Guerrero was in it.
Meltzer is a full Eddie Guerrero mark.
Well, Test entered, and he had Boo losing face on, so you kind of just knew he was going to lose. Because he looked very sad and angry. Then there's only one good spot in the match, and it's Test goes for a big boot to fall. No, I think he goes for a big boot to the outside. To Eddie moves out of the way. Then he falls out of the ring, and Test gets caught, and he hangs upside down from the ropes. And it's clearly a botch because the ref is trying to let him free, and then Eddie has to come and he has to try and let him free. And then I just have boring match, and there was boring chants through it. But we do get a moss-covered, 3-handled family gridunda.
Really?
Eddie pulls that out. I think that's in homage to Perry Saturn. So
that would make sense, yeah.
That's it. It did not even deserve 2 stars.
I mean, Meltzer.
And Eddie has that shitty haircut.
Which haircut? The mullet?
It's like the bowl cut mullet.
Bowl cut mullet.
I don't know. It's fucking weird.
I'm gonna have a look at this because Eddie had some real dog shit haircuts.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen Mania 17 a couple of times, and people talk about it being one of the better Manias, but I honestly had no idea either of these guys were on it.
Yeah, well, what's this? I think I've watched this match actually twice in the past month. Wasn't better the second time.
I'm going through the card, and I remember every single match apart from that one happening.
I've seen Mania 17 once, and I remember that Eddie did wrestle at this WrestleMania, but I did not remember him wrestling Test there.
Yeah, no one speaks about it. There's a reason for that.
I mean, I'd just like to point out that we skipped over WrestleMania 16. That was a conscious choice from me because I've watched that match before between TNA and Head Cheese, and fuck me, it's one of the worst things I've ever had to sit through.
I've
so I
seen
just
that.
scrapped it. I mean, it's so fucking bad. From the worst WrestleMania, in my opinion, that is probably the worst match.
That's bad. That's bad then.
That's why I was just like, nah, I'm not subjecting anyone to sitting through that.
That's fair.
But it's not all bad news for Test because on the June 14th, 2001 episode of SmackDown, Test would win back the Hardcore Championship. He would defeat Rhino via pinfall in 6 minutes and 35 seconds to win the title. So here we see Test hitting the pump handle slam on Rhino, but Rhino kicks out. Test then hits a elbow drop through a table, but immediately Shane McMahon's music hits and he walks out, bringing out Stacy Keibler, kind of just showing her off to the crowd. Rhino gets distracted by her, and then Test throws a trash can into him and delivers the big boot for the win. What did you guys think of this hardcore match?
I just had vintage elbow drop off the top from Test, and I mean it was solid, nothing special. But as a bonus, I got to see Stacy. That's about it.
What about you, Nat?
Give me back me 6 minutes 35. I say.
Yeah, I basically agree with you. I said it was an okay hardcore match. It's really nothing memorable except for the Test elbow drop through the table. I just wanted to know why do Shane and Stacy think, why is that run-in necessary? Test had the match won after the elbow drop through the table. Would have been a real high note to win the match on. And then, I don't know, what was the point of Shane and Stacy coming out?
Just to see Stacy.
I'm also, confused. Why... it was clearly to, screw Rhino, but isn't Rhino part of the alliance?
I don't remember.
Surely he's part of the alliance. He's a full ECW guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's definitely part of it towards the end, but I don't know. Did he come into WWE separately?
I think he did.
He was one of the first guys that came over.
So maybe he hadn't joined yet. Well, it wasn't the alliance yet, was it? It was WCW. So maybe he joins.
Oh yeah, okay, that would make sense. Yeah. But yeah, everything about it just confused me. He should have won with the elbow drop. It was sick.
Yeah, vintage Test.
I had a few more notes for this match. The crowd obviously popped like crazy for Stacy. She's over, and she really hasn't done anything in the WWF yet. She's just been hot, and people love that shit in 2001. I also said the hardcore matches have not aged well. There's so many unprotected shots to the head that are pretty tough to watch. Also, this was the first match where I kind of noticed that Test is starting to look more and more jacked. Obviously, eventually he'd turn into that episode of SpongeBob when he gets the fake rubber muscle arms, but he's starting to get more and more jacked, and I'm getting worried about him in 2001. Also, Rhino actually wears the hardcore belt, which... Does anybody else, wear the hardcore belt? I feel like everyone just carries it.
Not from memory.
They just carry it, throw it around. Rhino had respect for it.
That's the real championship, damn it.
But, yeah, did either of you have any more notes on this match?
I'm sure Pricey has lots to talk about in the sequel.
I got lucky.
Well, yeah, Test doesn't get to spend too long with the hardcore title because on the June 25th, 2001 episode of Monday Night Raw, Rhino would defeat Test via pinfall in 4 minutes and 33 seconds to win back the WWF Hardcore Championship, and Pricey is covering that.
Bit of journalism for you. If you're wondering why it took not 2 Raws later, not the next Raw for the rematch, this Raw Rhino was in a King of the Ring tournament match. So
Ooh, he was getting a real push.
yeah, just helping you guys. I mean, he lost, but still, he was in it. This Raw was held in Madison Square Garden. The crowd was pretty hot for this match. I think, from memory, this is the first match on the card. At one point, there was a chant for Rhino, so I don't know whether there was a bunch of ECW marks in the crowd or not, but he was pretty over. The spot that I loved, they ended up rolling to the back, and there was like I don't know how to describe it. It looked like a wheelie bin, but like a really big one. It was sort of like they used it like a shopping cart when you throw your mate in.
Yeah.
And Tess pushed the wheelie bin or whatever it is, the big tub, and had Rhino in it. He pushed it into the wall, and it just fucking crashed and burned. It looked so stupid. Like, it didn't look like it hurt Rhino at all. In the end, Rhino with a gore into like a steel wall or something, and then he got the win. And then Mike Awesome came out of nowhere, and he hit with a kendo stick or something, hit Rhino from behind and won the title, and then ran off.
Fuck, that's awesome.
No.
So I got a Mike Awesome sighting in my match. It was solid, but I reckon it was somehow worse than the SmackDown match.
Yeah, what didn't have Stacey Keebler?
That's what it was. I knew there was something missing.
No Stacey Keebler and no elbow drop.
Yeah, they just sort of fought through the crowd backstage. Wheelie bin spot, gore. That was about it. It was kind of boring.
So that's all you have on the return match?
I mean, Mike Awesome should have been Mike Not Awesome. That's bad.
Well, then that leads to SummerSlam 2001 on August 19th, which I'm covering. It's the Dudley Boys and Test defeating the APA and Spike Dudley via pinfall in 7 minutes and 19 seconds in a 6-man tag match. And so apparently Test cost the APA the tag team championships, and when he did that was when he kind of joined the alliance. So during the match, Spike Dudley tries to hit a Dudley Dog on Test, but he throws him out of the ring and through a table that the Dudley Boys had randomly set up earlier. Bradshaw then hits a clothesline from hell, but the referee is concerned with Spike, so he can't count the pin. This allows Shane McMahon to run in and hit Bradshaw with a chair, giving Test the win. I went into this expecting to hate it. I'm not a fan of the APA, and just all the people in this match, it seemed like it would kind of be the drizzling shits. But I actually thought it was pretty entertaining and enjoyable. There's a few really fun spots, and it doesn't kind of stay around too long and overstay its welcome. I feel like the 7 minutes is a perfect pace for this kind of match. You get to see someone get thrown through a table. So, it's everything the crowd would have wanted from a match like this at this point. I wanted to say, Test joining the Alliance, it really changed the tide of that war, I think. That was, up there with Stone Cold joining as really one of the marquee moments. Also wanted to say that he looks fucking jacked here. He's gassed to the gills and definitely going to NXT. And also, just in general, I want to talk about Spike's bumping here, because he's just getting thrown all over the place. And at one point, Bubba drapes Spike over the top rope, and it's like the height that Bubba gets when he throws him up and the way that he bounced off it is just ridiculous. So shout out to Spike for just doing whatever he can to make everybody else in the ring look top notch. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. One of the matches I enjoyed the most up until this point. Certainly enjoyed it more than his Royal Rumble showings.
That wouldn't be hard.
Arguably though, while I was finishing off my notes, I just let the show keep playing. And after this, it cuts to a backstage segment between Sean Stasiak and Deborah. And it is funny as fuck, and I suggest everybody go and watch it.
I didn't know Sean Stasiak was funny.
It's quality. I'll try and find a YouTube of it. But it was, it actually made me laugh. And I did not expect that. Deborah, SummerSlam. Okay, it's not coming up. But it's quality. So, search it out if you've got the network. SummerSlam 2001, Sean Stasiak. But yeah, it's a decent match, entertaining. Not going to set the world on fire, but overall, something decent to watch. But then that leads into the September 27th, 2001 episode of SmackDown, which sees Booker T and Test defeating Kane and The Undertaker via pinfall in 10 minutes and 43 seconds to win the WWF World Tag Team Championships. In this match, Kane hits a chokeslam on Test, but Shane pulls the referee out of the ring. Undertaker goes after Shane, but meanwhile in the ring, Booker hits a scissor kick and then goes after Undertaker. Kane and Test then fight into the crowd. Booker T gets whipped into Nick Patrick, and Shane gives a chair to Booker T. He misses Taker with it and gets hit with a chokeslam. Shane then grabs the chair himself and uses it on Taker, but Taker grabs him and hits the last ride. Booker grabs the chair again, hits Taker in the head, and gets the win. What did you guys think of Test and Booker T winning the tag titles?
Honestly, this match bored the shit out of me. I could not care less about this one. One thing I picked up on was they kept calling Booker T the Booker Man. Like usually it's like the Bookman is what they.
It's like the Boogeyman, man.
But don't they say like the Bookman? Like, I feel like someone says that, like maybe Taz or someone. But the Booker Man just sounds like he's booking the show. Like he's the Booker Man. Like that's someone that doesn't know what the book is called. Yeah, that just fucking put me off the whole thing. I didn't like this one at all.
What about you, Nat?
Well, when we were gonna watch it, I was just thinking, how the fuck are they gonna be? Because you said T and Test defeated the Kane. I was like, well, what the fuck's gonna happen for them to win? Because they're not gonna win clean. So it was okay. It's a little overbooked, but oh well.
Yeah, that's what I said. The finish of this match is incredibly overbooked. Like, there's so much shit going on. And as you said, Pricey, this match is pretty fucking boring. Especially because, like, you got Kane, Taker, and Booker T in there. Three, pretty well-respected guys for what they can do in the ring, and they just go there and just lay a massive fucking turd on the mat. Like, it could not have been any more boring if they tried.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
I thought this, but to be fair, this is kind of during like Undertaker's really shitty period. When he was walking to the ring, he looked so broken down and like, kind of like he was in pain.
He's the invasion angle, that'll do it to you.
He also had some ugly ass sideburns, so that wasn't helping things. And I think my most important note was that because Test is fighting through the crowd with Kane, he doesn't even get to celebrate his tag title win here. Which, that's a little disheartening. Test deserved to celebrate in the middle of that ring.
Yeah, he didn't get the world title. This was his world title.
But yeah, it's not a great match. Anyone else got any final thoughts?
No. Nope.
Well, that leads us to Test losing those championships on the October 8th, 2001 episode of Raw. The Hardy Boys defeat Booker T and Test via pinfall in 3 minutes and 40 seconds to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. And Nat, give us the rundown.
Well, thanks for wasting 3 minutes 40 of my life. Because I literally wrote Booker Test attack at the start of the match, and wait, it's over. That's all that happened.
Yeah, they just basically get squashed. I don't even know what the point of it is. I didn't watch it, but
it was just a squash. I don't know. I have no idea what was going on, but they're fucking over and done with.
And a little tease for a little bit later on. The next time Booker T and Test would win the tag titles, exact same thing happens. I don't know if someone was having a rib or what the guy was there, but they really enjoyed feeding them to the Hardys. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about that. So that leads us to No Mercy 2001. Took place on October 21 and saw Test defeating Kane via pinfall in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. Dave Meltzer gave this 3 stars, and Pricey was the lucky man that got to cover it.
Dave Meltzer was drunk on October 21. There's no way that's 3 stars. Honestly, like I'm not the biggest fan of like a couple big hosses just going 1-on-1 and
Hoss
just
fight.
yeah, I'm not big on that. But even still, like I can appreciate if they put on a good match. But these two, solid. But there's nothing great about it. The one spot that I enjoyed was Kane. He picked up Test for a military press and threw him to the outside from the ring. Apart from that, like there was nothing really too memorable about it. Nick Patrick cost Kane the match. So classic Nick Patrick.
That damn dirty referee.
What a heel.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is you just disagreeing so much with Melter on that 3 stars.
This is a fucking idiot. There's no, like, maybe, I don't know, 2001 that might be a 3-star match, but it definitely isn't today.
Oh boy. Well, after that, on November 1, not too far after that pay-per-view, on SmackDown, we saw Booker T and Test defeating Chris Jericho and The Rock via pinfall in 9 minutes and 8 seconds to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. So if you thought their win over the Brothers of Destruction was big, this is way bigger. So in this match, we see Jericho attempting a missile dropkick on Test, but he misses and hits The Rock. This allows Test to hit the big boot and get the win. And after the match, Jericho and The Rock fight. This ends with The Rock hitting a rock bottom. And kind of leading up to this match, Jericho and The Rock there'd been a bit of tension between them, which is why it kind of just all explodes here, leading to Booker T and Test winning the titles. What did you boys think of this match?
I didn't know that Test and Booker T were such a decorated tag team.
Neither did I. I didn't even remember that Booker T won titles with Test.
That's Booker Test to you.
I have that in my notes somewhere. I feel like they have another tag match somewhere. But yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength in that. Booker Test. I thought it was okay for the match. Solid. That was about it.
What about you, Nat?
The crowd was just waiting for Jericho and Rock to go at it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, even from the start of it, like that's what's going to be happening here. They're going to turn on each other and play up the WWF group can't really coexist type thing.
This whole invasion angle and this period of time has so many title changes. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. I mentioned it in one of the other matches, my notes, but I reckon like in the Attitude era or this era, because I guess it's kind of after the Attitude era, there's probably like a 90% chance that you're going to see a championship match, and then even then a very strong chance that you're going to see a title change. Like the belts meant nothing.
Like one pay-per-view you'll watch and the Hardys are like the WWF Tag Champions, and then the next they'll be the WCW Tag Team Champions. Like that's how often the titles will change hands. Like they're not even, they'll lose one title, win another one. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I know that back then they changed the titles a lot, but this was next level. That's
just the kind of attitude that old mate Russo kind of instilled in the team at that time. Fucking Vince Russo.
I was waiting for a Nat impression.
Bro.
That's all we get?
That's all you're getting.
Well, I thought this was a good match, but then again, like, what do you expect when you've got these kind of guys in the ring? Like, of course you're going to get a good match. I just noted here that this has got to be easily the biggest win in Test's career, defeating Jericho and The Rock. Like, it's not going to get bigger than that for him, especially when you see some of the matches coming up.
He could have came out and said, I beat Chris Jericho and The Rock in the same night. And
exactly.
Chris Jericho beat The Rock and Austin in the same night, so makes it even more impressive. Basically beat Austin as well.
Exactly. So there's also more good news for all the testicles out there, because on the November 5th, 2001 episode of Raw, Test would defeat Edge via pinfall in 5 minutes and 27 seconds to win the Intercontinental Championship. In this match, Edge would go to the top rope, but Test would throw Mike Chioda into the ropes to knock him down. Test then gets a jackknife cover and puts his feet on the ropes to get the win. And this is really the only time Test wins a meaningful singles title because I guess the European title wasn't really treated with that much respect. And even calling the Intercontinental title meaningful at this point is debatable because it doesn't really get treated that well. But having said that, the Intercontinental title's got a pretty significant lineage, so it's probably meant a lot to Test. And what did you boys think of the match?
Just seeing them wrestle each other, Test just looks like a roided up version of Edge. Don't you think?
Yeah.
He kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the match was fine, but then just the finish, that really kind of pissed me off. Like, that was a pretty lame finish for a like you said, like, this is supposed to be an important championship, and I don't know, I was expecting more. A big boot, vintage elbow drop maybe, but didn't get any of it.
Shit match for the Intercontinental title.
You didn't like the match?
No.
I thought I was more in line with Price. I thought it was a fun match until the really anticlimactic and shitty ending. Like, it's so like out of nowhere that he just wins with a jackknife cover and the old foot on the ropes. I don't know whether both of you noticed, but the entire match, commentary is just talking about Stone Cold. They like mention one thing about the actual match going on, and then the rest is just them talking about Stone Cold.
That's true. I agree with that.
Goddamn kid.
The only other note I had here, because this match just ends anticlimactically and they never really give them enough time to be memorable, is that Seth Rollins is the modern day Test, holding the old Intercontinental title and the tag belt.
I wouldn't say their name in the same breath, personally.
Yeah, I know. Seth Rollins really couldn't lace up Test's boots.
Wasn't where I was going with it, but that's fine.
Hey, Test, dual champion. Put some respect on him.
It's rare. It's very rare, so shows you how good he is.
So did we have any final notes on this before we move on to the next match?
No, I think that's about it.
Not really.
So while Test is on top of the world on November 5, holding the Intercontinental title and the tag titles, it would quickly come crashing down because on November 12, the Monday Night Raw... Is there an earthquake happening right now?
I'm gonna grab my laptop.
What?
I think that's been assassinated.
Goodness me. Take a minute, Nat. Get yourself right.
Dust yourself off and get back on the horse when you can.
Bit of a dusty finish.
On the November 12th edition of Monday Night Raw, the Hardy Boys would defeat Booker T and Test via pinfall in 3 minutes and 15 seconds this time to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. I was covering this one, and so Matt hits the Twist of Fate, and Jeff...
That was me, by the way.
So much going on in these notes right now. But yeah, Matt would hit the Twist of Fate, and Jeff would hit the Swanton Bomb, but Test would come in and hit a big boot on Jeff. Matt and Test would then fight outside the ring, which distracts Mike Chioda. Lita then gets to the top rope and hits a Hurricane Rana on Booker T, and Jeff gets a roll-up and the win. And that everything I wrote there basically sums up everything that happened in that match. It's barely long enough to be considered a proper match. And I just wanted, Test always got the most disappointing ends to his title reigns. Except for maybe him losing at WrestleMania 17. I guess that's kind of a decent end to your reign. But all the other ones are all so anticlimactic, like losing within 4 minutes. Really disappointed for my boy Test.
I mean, I can't believe Matt hit the chicken twisty of fate.
The chicken twisties of fate should have put him away. It was the combo with the Swanton Bomb and didn't get it.
So is this what you were talking about before? How they lost the tag titles to the Hardys in a squash match a second time?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they happened within a 1 month period. Essentially, like the Bookers just really liked squashing them.
That pretty much sums up what I was talking about with the championships. Like, this shit will just happen at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, this is where I wrote in my notes that you were basically guaranteed to see a title change or at the very least a championship match during this era. But yeah, because this is so short, I don't have that many notes. My final note was Jeff basically has a seizure on the stage when he comes out. So
He does that all the time, doesn't he?
it was worse this time. He was like just swinging his head around, and I was like, all right, do you, man? You're about to win the titles.
I mean, nowadays he does the clap with the bam, 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 which is much better.
With no fireworks.
It kind of sucks with no fireworks, but no.
But yeah, that match is nothing to write about. It's fucking garbage. And as Nat would say, I want that 3 minutes and 15 seconds back.
Exactly right.
It's good that we have you back now from your surviving your assassination attempt, Nat, because you're up here.
Well, I'm back.
Survivor Series 2001 on November 18th, Edge would defeat Test via pinfall in 11 minutes and 17 seconds to retain the WCW United States Championship and win the Intercontinental Championship. And Nat has that.
Well, this is a unification, boy. Meltzer definitely overrated this match. It's pretty boring.
Don't reckon it was 3.5?
Crowd's kind of dead in it. Yes, not worth 3.5.
He's drunk
Maybe
again.
2.5. Just wanted to note the Survivor Series song was "The End Is Near." You know, the Armageddon song.
Wow, they used that like 5 different times.
Yeah. All I have written for the match though is Paul Smackage makes an appearance at the end.
Oh, nice.
That's how he fucking wins the title. So 11 minutes, 17 for nothing. That was a finish. So shit. I don't know how it's 3.5 stars. It's terrible.
Well, Meltzer just loves Edge. So
Edge and Edger.
maybe he was becoming a test mark at this time. He's starting to give him really high ratings in 2001.
I mean, he's putting in the work.
But Test's pulling double duty at Survivor Series this year because later in the night he's going to be in the Immunity Battle Royal and he's going to win it in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Meltzer would only give it 1 star though. And Pricey covered that one off.
Yep. I mean, I was lucky that I skipped back a little bit because before the Battle Royal, Test has a backstage segment. Scotty Too Hotty's walking backstage and Test walks past and says to Scotty, he asks if you're in the Battle Royal and he says yes. So then Test beats him up, throws him against the wall and whatnot, and then he says, "You're not anymore," and then walks off. At this point, so like I'd forgotten that he was in that Intercontinental title match, so maybe he wasn't in the Battle Royal, and by beating up Scotty Too Hotty, he goes into it. I'm not too sure. But the names in this match aren't. I mean, they're not the greatest names you'll ever see.
Aren't they all like WCW people and ECW people?
Pretty much. The biggest names I saw like DDP, the APA, and Test. They're probably like the biggest names you'll see in this match. Before the match starts, I think it was as the match starts, Albert and Test fighting on the outside. Albert takes him out, and that's where the first couple of minutes of the match Test spends. He's just like, laid out outside.
Oh, Test is sleeping.
He eliminates Farouk, Albert, Lance Storm, Bradshaw, and Bill Gunn throughout the match. So at least he's finally eliminating people in a battle royal. And the final 5 was Test, Bill Gunn, Lance Storm, Billy Kidman, and Bradshaw. Real who's who of pro wrestling. And then, yeah, him winning this battle royal is like one of the few things I actually remember his career. For some reason, I've went back and watched this pay-per-view, the Survivor Series pay-per-view, probably because of the invasion angle and like the 5-on-5 match. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Meltzer maybe he started to sober up throughout the night and he only gave it a 1 star, which is fair because this battle royal.
He's come down from the drugs that he took and he's like, yeah, you know what?
I think so.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah, 1 star is probably fair. I wouldn't give it much more than that.
So after the Test's big night at Survivor Series, we then have his next pay-per-view match coming at Vengeance 2001, which happened on December 9th. It's a very random match because it's Albert and Scotty Too Hotty defeating Christian and Test via pinfall in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Meltzer would give it 1.25 stars. And so it's a kind of entertaining match because at one point Christian attempts to hit the worm, but Albert stops him. Scotty 2 Hotty then hits the worm on Test. Christian rolls in the ring and tries to hit the Unprettier on Scotty, but Albert comes in and hits the A-bomb and gets the win. I thought this was a solid pay-per-view opener. Scotty 2 Hotty gets the crowd popping like crazy during the worm, so it basically does everything you want a curtain jerker match to do. I just thought this was such a random match. I was really confused why these 4 people would be wrestling. Christian and Test hadn't joined up as part of the Un-Americans at this stage, I don't think, so I was confused by that, and I was confused by Albert and Scotty 2 Hotty being together. Do either of you know what's going on here? I'm getting donuts here.
Yeah,
You definitely cut out.
I thought something broke. I thought something was dead.
You cut out
Did you not hear any of that?
Nope.
You said, "Guys, did you?" And we didn't hear after that.
Did you know at all why Albert is with Scotty 2 Hotty here?
No, I don't really care.
Good friends.
Albert is kind of in a Rikishi style, like, too cool gimmick here. They're calling him the Hip Hop Hippo, which they were calling him that when he was Sweet Tea. I didn't realize that was a thing, like, already in his career, that he'd been called the Hip Hop Hippo. But yeah, he's the Hip Hop Hippo here, and he kind of dances to the ring with Scotty 2 Hotty, but it's real half-hearted. His heart's not in it, so it just comes off real awkward.
You need a Brodus Clay.
He really did in the Funkadactyls.
Yeah, that'll get your heart into it.
Albert does a giant swing in this match, kind of like Cesaro, which the crowd didn't really pop for like they did for Cesaro, but I thought it was neat that he did that. Also wanted to note that Albert never drew a dime in his life, and now he's the head dude at NXT.
How dare you? He teamed with Carl Anderson in Japan, I think.
As what was his name in Giant Bernard was his name in Japan. That's it.
Was it really?
Yeah, his name was Giant Bernard.
Jeez, that sucks. You'd rather Tensai.
Yeah, I think Lord Tensai's way better than Giant Bernard.
Fuck yeah, it is.
But yeah, this is a nice little match here. It's random, but it doesn't stay for too long. 6 minutes 20 is enough of Albert, and yeah, I enjoyed it surprisingly. The only other thing I've got here is that there's so much smoke from the fireworks during this match that you can barely see the action in the ring at the start. It's like excessively covered in smoke, which is something we obviously don't get these days because we don't get any pyro.
We're not worth it, man.
So that essentially ends 2001, that pay-per-view. I just wanted to mention here that, and I think you will both agree, that 2001 was definitely the peak of Test's career.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Like, he wins a bunch of championships. He's actually featured pretty predominantly in the Invasion angle. So, that's really where his career peaks, even though his feud with Triple H and his stuff with Stephanie was pretty significant. I think 2001 is definitely the best sustained run of his career.
Yeah, that's fair.
He then follows up that successful 2001 with the Royal Rumble in 2002 on January 20. He's in the Royal Rumble match, and Nat's going to be covering that one off. Test will enter at 21.
And that's where you should stop there. This fucking just shits on his 2000. Holy fuck. I watched, because I tried to, you gave me the number he's coming in, so I was like, I'll skip to about, I don't know, just over halfway in the match. Turns out I've actually skipped after he was eliminated. So, and then I watched till number 30. I'm like, oh fuck. So I watched from number 22 to 30, thinking, oh, Test will be in soon. And then when I went back, I was like, why did I fucking even go back? It was a minute 42. He gets zero reaction in his entrance. Literally, Stone Cold he just eliminates him. Fuck, why did I waste my time?
Hey, he had a good number. He could have potentially gone on to do something there.
Oh, he always gets a lot of elimination.
Oh, poor Test. Never gets a push in the Royal Rumble. Never getting a
One
push
day.
at the right time of year.
Is his one? Wait, how many eliminations has he had overall in the Royal Rumble? Was it just the one?
2, I think.
So far, he's had 2. He eliminated William Regal and he eliminated Rikishi, technically.
I think that's in, like... I think I kind of...
What was that you cut out?
I calculated roughly his time up 2003 run. It's about 60 minutes for 2 eliminations, or 3.
Yeah, I have like more details about his Royal Rumble stats later on, but he essentially
sweet.
like his entire time in the Royal Rumble is about an hour, which is impressive
Nice.
considering how many times he comes in and he's eliminated in 2 minutes.
He did well.
So that takes us to the next pay-per-view, which is No Way Out 2002 on February 17th. Spike Dudley and Taz defeat Booker T and Test via submission in 7 minutes and 17 seconds to retain the WWF Tag Team Championships. Meltzer gives it 1 star, and Pricey was that accurate.
And he should tell us his real thoughts and why he had to watch that match.
My real thoughts?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, bloody off air when Brandon wasn't around.
Oh, yes. No, yeah, you're right. I don't know why you have this in here. 'Cause this is, like, they don't win the titles, and they weren't the champions, so they didn't
I just
lose
had it
the
as
titles.
a pay-per-view match. I don't know why I included it.
It's 1 star.
I think I included every Test pay-per-view match except WrestleMania 16.
Jesus.
Oh, geez, that's... Okay, that makes a little more sense then, because this... it's very below average overall, especially by his standards. Like, even if he hasn't had the greatest of in-ring career, this is not great. This is where I clicked with the tag name, Nat, with Booker Test.
Nice.
It took me until his last tag team match with Booker T.
You had a lot of time to think in that 7 minutes.
That's pretty much all I was doing. I'm a big fan of Spike, but I didn't really care for this at all. He took some crazy bumps, which you expect from Spike, but yeah, I mean, not great. The finish of the match is Test. He's arguing with the ref. He pushes the ref. The ref pushes him back, and then Test falls like backwards into the Taz mission, and Taz gets the win. So,
Wow.
not,
Test
not
has become
great.
a comedy jobber.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
So yeah, Test is basically floundering around at this point. But on March 25, when the brand split takes place, Test is drafted to SmackDown, and he would be there for a little bit, but in late July he would leave SmackDown to join Raw as part of the Un-Americans. And so his big pay-per-view match as part of the Un-Americans happens at SummerSlam 2002 on August 25. The Undertaker defeats Test via pinfall in 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Meltzer gives it 2.25 stars, and I'm covering this one off. So Test comes out to the ring waving an upside-down American flag, and I thought, just what a fucking heel. The absolute horror of
That's the
somebody
American logo, bro.
having the flag upside down. King and JR on commentary are just losing their minds about how bad Test is for dissing America. But as for the match itself, Test misses the big boot. Taker catches him for a chokeslam, but Test actually kicks out of the chokeslam, which I was impressed by. Taker then goes for the last ride, but Christian and Lance Storm run out. Taker chokeslams both of them, and Test hits a big boot, but Undertaker kicks out. Test then grabs a chair, and the referee tries to stop him, which leads to him knocking the referee down. He tries to use it, but Taker big boots him, which sends the chair flying into his own head. He then hits the tombstone and wins, and after the match he goes into the crowd to grab an American flag to celebrate with. And this is really the era where Undertaker was full on about America, kind of like at WrestleMania 19 when he comes out with his American flag and waves it around after the match with the most American person I've ever seen, Nathan Jones. But I actually thought that this was one of the better biker Taker matches I've ever seen. Definitely better than anything in the Nathan Jones era that we covered off pretty extensively in the Nathan Jones episode. Test has got his new entrance music here that he would use, I think, for the rest of his run. And I actually like this theme better than the first theme that he's been using. And I believe Taker came out to either Kid Rock or Limp Bizkit at this pay-per-view because he has a really generic-ass garbage theme on the network version here, so I assume it's... that kind of issue with not wanting to pay for the rights. But yeah, it was a good match, even though despite me thinking Taker was so fucking lame as Biker Taker, I feel like you would be relieved to know that he was still doing that shitty crowd taunt when he'd get in the ring. Just half-heartedly throwing his arms up to the crowd and just like, yeah, I'm here.
Have you seen this pay-per-view, SummerSlam 02?
I don't think I've seen it all, no.
Because a lot of people, it's pretty widely regarded as one of the better ones. I was wondering if you thought this match held up compared to some of the other ones on the card. But
I haven't seen most of the other matches on the card, but I'd say this is definitely it holds its own. It's a pretty solid match considering it's Biker Taker and it's Test.
Because I remember looking at the card. I've seen a couple matches from the card, and I remember seeing this one. I didn't watch it, but I think Mysterio Angle is a really good one. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's a couple other good ones, but that's pretty good. If this is the one I thought was going to be bad, and if that's good, then that's probably a good sign for the pay-per-view.
It's definitely pretty good, and I'd say it's one of the better matches I'd watched for this at this point. So, I couldn't complain. It was only 8 minutes long. I was afraid when I saw Undertaker. I was like, shit, this is probably going to be a 15-minute match. I don't really want to watch a 15-minute match between Taker and Test, but yeah, kept it short, and it was enjoyable. So later on at Unforgiven 2002, we would see Booker T, Bubba Ray Dudley, Goldust, and Kane defeating Christian, Lance Storm, Test, and William Regal, otherwise known as the Un-Americans, via pinfall in 9 minutes and 59 seconds, in an 8-man tag match. Meltzer would give this 3.25 stars. Now, I've got a couple of questions here. First question is, what the fuck is this team that the Un-Americans are facing? And number 2 is Meltzer high again, or is this match worthy of that rating?
This match is fucking dog shit. How do you have 3 stars? Yeah, I couldn't. Okay, you're gonna say, maybe it's got some people in there. I'll just say it's a fucking 8-man tag match. How could you give it that much? I just wrote it's a Raw match. Let's be real.
It's a Raw main event.
And the reason Bubba Dudley's on his own because isn't this when Devon's bloody the priest?
Preacher, yeah, priest.
Yeah. Booker T is looking for his Booker Test. Goldust, he's a wrestler. And Kane, I don't know, fucking does nothing. I wrote the Un-Americans are pretty creative with the upside down flag.
Must have taken them a while to come up with that.
Oh man, countless nights of no sleep. I just said I didn't enjoy it a lot. There was way too many bodies. Test lifts Kane with his pump handle slam. The crowd is actually pretty stunned hot for that, even though they're the heels. And then Kane wins after choke slamming Mr. Serious, Lance Storm.
So what would you rate it if it's not 3.25 stars?
Like a 1.5. It's pretty boring. It's definitely a Raw match.
I reckon I'm starting to realise that Meltzer is a test mark.
Yeah, probably.
Bigger than us.
And it went for 10 minutes. Fuck off.
So that takes place on September 22, and nothing significant really happens for Test until January 19th, where at the 2003 Royal Rumble, he's in the Royal Rumble match. Price is covering this one off. He actually sticks around a bit for this one, so I want to know what you think of it.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at my notes and I'm remembering, this is his best Royal Rumble. First of all, he comes out. He's accompanied by Stacey. Tick. Obviously.
Oh, nice. Rubbing my hands together.
Oh, this Royal Rumble a little sticky.
This is the first match that I'm watching with the short hair, so it must happen. He would have had the long hair for your match, Nat, in Unforgiven.
He had short hair in my match, I think.
Oh, did he?
Let me just scan here.
Let me get my photo of the.
Nah, he didn't have short hair yet. He gets. I'm pretty sure. I remember I was reading his Wikipedia page. He doesn't get short hair in the trunks until he joins Stacey. Like Stacey makes him do it.
It might be like a makeup.
Yeah, because Stacey starts out as wardrobe person.
She creates the testicles.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing him with the short hair, which is a nice little change up. The crowd seemed excited to see him. But he comes out to the ring, and then Stacey comes out with him. But then as he enters the ring, she goes back. So that's when the crowd died down. They sort of like cheered as she was leaving, and then that was it. But like he looked good. He came into the match and he beat up everyone in the ring. He looked strong. In the ring at that time was Eddie, Chris Jericho, both Hardys, Rosie, and RVD.
Fuck, the ring's packed.
Yeah, so he did the classic. Everyone comes in, they're fired up, they do all their big moves and whatnot. A couple pump handle slams and whatnot. Quick note: John Cena came out during the time that he was out there. And he did like a rap all the way down the entrance ramp. And I just thought I'd quote this. Cena says, "My style is like a swollen penis. You can't beat me."
What?
Yeah, so that's
Nice.
something that happened. The finish to test time in the match. HBK comes back out to fight with Chris Jericho. Jericho's distracted, which allows Test to eliminate him, throw him over the top. That's his, I guess, third elimination we've counted from his Rumble matches.
Yep.
And then towards the end, Batista comes in late in the match. Test slams him or something. He gets a move in on him. He throws him over the top rope. Batista lands on the apron, and then Test tries for a running boot, but then Batista does the thing where you pull the top rope down.
Classic.
And he flying over. Yeah, so that's how he gets eliminated out of this one. Compared to all the other ones, and hearing what you guys have said about the Rumbles that you covered, this is probably his best outing, I think.
Yeah.
So good for him. It wasn't great, but better than what we've seen.
He lasts 18 minutes and 45 seconds there, which is like not that long, but it turns out to be 6th longest that year, so he gets a decent run.
It's pretty solid. He did all right.
He actually eliminates someone properly. I think, this has got to be his best Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm up next with Judgment Day 2003. This saw La Resistance defeating Scott Steiner and Test via pinfall in 6 minutes and 19 seconds, or 619, so booyaka booyaka. Meltzer would give it 1 1/4 stars, and he probably would be generous giving it 1 1/4 stars there. Was not a fan of this. So before the match, La Resistance cut a promo asking why Americans hate them. They then say that the American government promotes hatred and that Americans are barbarians. Then Dupree randomly does star jumps during this. I'm not really sure why, but it's just doing them. This is also La Resistance's first pay-per-view match. So Test hits the pump handle slam, but the referee is distracted by Scott Steiner, so he doesn't count the pin. Savon Grenier drop kicks Test, who knocks Stacey off the apron and into Steiner's arms. While Test is distracted by this, Grenier gets a roll-up, but Test kicks out. Steiner then tags himself in, but gets double-teamed. Test tries to help out, but accidentally big boots him. They dispose of Test and then hit a double flapjack type move for the win. And after the match, Stacey is really concerned for Steiner, but Test drags her away. I feel like Pricey is the expert on La Resistance here. Is that flapjack move they use their finisher, or do they keep using that? What is that?
Early on, I think they do, but I don't recall a different move that they use after that. I think that's the only time I've ever seen them use like a double team move from memory.
It's a really bad fucking tag team finisher.
Yeah, it's not great.
So much is bad about this. I need to mention that I forgot about La Resistance's original gear, but holy shit, it is so fucking bad. They look so generic. If either of you have forgotten, they're wearing like black
I
trunks
watched it.
and then like yellow fucking pads and stuff, and oh god, I hated it so much. Just everything about La Resistance here isn't really that great. I thought overall this is just a nothing match. La Resistance really green at the moment. Almost everything about them is garbage, like right down to their gear is pretty garbage. I think this was the first time that I got to see Test post cutting his hair and wearing trunks. And the trunks he was wearing here was like something generic you'd put on your My Player in 2K. Like, he was wearing, I think it was white trunks, and then he had like Randy Orton's back tattoo on the back of his trunks. It was fucking shit. I wanted to also note that Test at one point puts on one of La Resistance's berets, which I thought that was nice. That's about the most personality Test has shown in a long time. And also, Stacey is real horny for Scott Steiner, which
Who isn't?
Yeah, you can't blame her. He's a genetic freak. But yeah, this match is fucking god awful. Stacey Keibler is easily the best part about it, and I want my 6 minutes and 20 seconds back. But Tess wasn't done with that god awful match. He was pulling double duty at Judgment Day. He was part of a battle royal for the Intercontinental Championship, and Nat covered that one off. Meltzer gave it 1.25 stars. What did you think of this match?
Well, it started off with Tess, Scott Steiner, and La Resistance.
Wait.
Because I started watching that match. So I'm thinking, why is it just a battle royal with these guys? And then I was like, oh, Christian wins. Oh, I wonder how. He must be under the ring or something. And then when they went for a pinfall, I was like, oh, fuck. So that was my experience. But then I eventually got to the actual Battle Royal, and he was coming off double duty. King says, "Ha-ha, where's Stacey?" Comes out without her, and then Test is just thrown out randomly, quickly by Booker T.
At the,
And
he's thrown out at the start.
moving on. No, at the start. Just a
I was
couple.
going to say, he needs to continue on the tradition of being eliminated like
Couple
right at the
minutes in.
start.
No, it's very boring. So I moved
From
on.
memory, isn't this match like all former Intercontinental champions? Isn't that what
Everyone except for there was someone.
Booker T?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, everyone was. Yeah.
So that's probably why like they threw him in there, and they just didn't care like why they threw him out, because they were just like, oh, we need to fill the ring up for a battle royal, so just throw a Test out there again.
Who is Intercontinental Champion going into this?
No one.
Oh, is it vacant? Is this them bringing it back?
Pat Patterson.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought it might have been that one.
The following contest is for the vacant Intercontinental Championship. And then Finkel has a nut over Pat Patterson coming out.
So next up is me. We're going in the old me, Nat, Pricey order, but I've changed it up here because I wanted to give Pricey the Unforgiven 2003 match. So instead, I'm covering Bad Blood 2003, which was Scott Steiner defeating Test via pinfall in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Meltzer gives it 2 stars. I need to ask both of you, so you guys know that Unforgiven is for Stacey Services, right?
Yes.
Did you know that this Bad Blood match is also for Stacey Services?
I did not.
It's funny you ask, because let's rehash it again. 2003 Gold. Because I didn't watch at the time. I wasn't watching weekly, so I have no idea what happened in the Raws between these pay-per-views. But I'm pretty sure I bought like the DVDs, so I've watched Bad Blood, and then like Unforgiven's like the next Raw one, and like it's the same match. So I was confused then. So I have no idea of like what happened in between then. And then from Unforgiven to Survivor Series, I have no idea what happened with Stacey then. So,
well, fun fact, I did a little bit of research, but after this Bad Blood match, which is for her services, they have a match on Raw, which is also for her services. So,
what was that? Sorry.
On Raw, they have another match, which is also for her services. So, they have Scott Steiner winning her services, and then I think Test wins the services on Raw. And then they have the Unforgiven match where Test wins again.
Classic best of 3 series.
They have fucking 3 matches for Stacey's services. That's how important it is to have Stacey Keibler on your side.
I would too.
I mean, considering Scott Steiner and Test both get no reaction without her, I can see why they'd be so desperate to get her on their side. But as for the actual match itself, Stacey gets her own entrance here, and her entrance music is complete garbage. I feel sorry for her. Test hits his pump handle slam, but Steiner kicks out. Test then goes to take off the turnbuckle pad, but Stacey stops him. Test then goes to grab a chair, but again, Stacey stops him, but this time he shoves her to the ground. Test misses Steiner with the chair, hits the ropes, and then hits himself, which is just classic spot. Not enough of those happening these days. Steiner hits his finish and wins the match. It's an alright match. I reckon the Unforgiven match is definitely better. Meltzer thinks it's the other way around, but I think definitely Unforgiven is a lot better than this contest here. Test still has real garbage designs on his tights here. He's wearing something that looks like Kona Reeves would wear. So it's it's not great. It has some tribal shit, fucking down the bottom. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, Test, but this is not it, Chief.
Kona Reeves would only wear it if it was the finest.
Yeah, it's not great. It's an okay match. It's nothing to get excited about. Stacey again is the most exciting part of the match. She takes a pretty gnarly bump when Tess pushes her to the ground. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot to talk about. But this match leads into Unforgiven 2003, where Tess defeats Scott Steiner via pinfall in 6 minutes and 56 seconds in another match for Stacey's services. Meltzer would give it 1 star, and Pricey, you're covering this one off because me and Nat had watched this match 1,000 times.
We talked this up. We talked this up, and it's 1 star. I thought it would be more than that.
It's not a 1-star match, and also the pre-match promo
makes up for 4 more stars.
Yeah, well, you guys have said you guys have seen a lot. Unforgiven was when Goldberg won the title, so I've worn out my copy.
I would have thought you would just be skipping to the main event, though. I didn't think you'd be a test mark.
You gotta watch the whole show and just sort of build up to that great moment when Goldberg holds the title up upside down. Yeah, so of course I went back and I watched the promo before the match. You'd be great not to. Still great, still a great promo. And I just have here Tess, Steiner, and Stacey is probably the best love triangle in pro wrestling history. 8-year-old Pricey watched this match just to see Stacey, which is true. And I noted here, so she came out and she's wearing this little skirt, and I said, if Stacey's skirt was any shorter, it'd be a belt. Throughout the match, King says during the match, if Stacey's skirt was any shorter, it'd be a collar. Me and King are on the same wavelength here.
Just a couple of perverts.
Yeah, that's it. And then so Stacey comes out at first by herself, and then Tess comes out, and he does the little Stacey entrance where he bends over as he's getting into the ring and faces his ass towards Stacey. And I just thought, this man is the fucking goat. Honestly, what a man. The finish of the match was Tess bringing in a chair. I'm guessing the referee was down. I didn't have this noted, but I'm sure the referee was down. He brings in a chair. Stacey she takes it off him. She attempts to hit Tess, but he ducks and she hits Steiner. Then Tess hits a big boot for the win. It was a fairly short match. I'm guessing you have the time here, 7 minutes. It felt short, but I thought it was a solid match. Maybe it's the nostalgia. I'm not too sure, but I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a fun little match.
Do you reckon it was better or worse than Bad Blood?
From memory, it's better. But again, it could be the nostalgia and us hyping it up like we do.
Definitely better than that 8-man tag afterwards.
Well, segue here. Is it better than at Armageddon 2003, where Scott Steiner and Test are involved in a tag team turmoil match for the World Tag Team Championships, where they're defeated by the Dudleys? Batista and Ric Flair go on to win the whole thing, and Meltzer gives it 1 3/4 stars. What do you think, Nat? Is it better?
Well, I didn't really watch the other parts of the match.
I don't blame you at all.
It was really shitty. When I was looking up Hurricane Rosie, fuck off. The first thing I hear is just King saying, "Haha, Rosie's not hungry." Because he's fat, JR. So I was like, oh, fucking whatever. And they come in when, actually, it was a cool spot. Lance Caden, who's the other guy he tags with? Mark Jindrak?
Mark Jindrak.
Yeah.
They come in, they attack Dudley's from behind, try to get a quick pinfall, but they don't. They get eliminated, then Test and Steiner come in. Test tries to do the same thing. A big boot goes to the pin. And 6 minutes, the longest 6 minutes of my life, then happens. Test is pretty much in it for the whole time and keeps yelling. He goes for, I think he literally goes for a pinfall every 20 seconds. And then they lose, and then originally that's where the match should have stopped, and then Evolution comes. So it wasn't great.
Test is a smart man. He knows it's a tag team turmoil match, and quickly as possible, stay fresh. So that's probably
Exactly.
the thing on it. Yeah, he's a smart ring veteran.
So Test really doesn't do anything of note at all for the rest of his original WWE run, because on a
Wait, so is he not in the Rumble?
he's not in the Rumble that year, no.
That's gay.
So on March 1, 2004, on Monday Night Raw, he has his final match of his first WWE run. It sees Booker T and Rob Van Dam defeating Matt Hardy and Test via pinfall in 4 minutes and 53 seconds. So this was the main event match for this episode of Monday Night Raw, so at least Test went out on top. Booker T misses a scissor kick in this match, and Test then misses a pump handle slam. Booker T goes for the kick again, but Hardy grabs him when he hits the ropes. Test goes for a big boot, but hits Hardy. Booker then finally hits the scissor kick, and RVD hits a frog splash for the win. What did you guys think of Test's final match, where they basically, him and Matt Hardy just get squashed?
I just thought it was a very odd pairing. I guess both of them were, but I was a fan of RVD and Booker T together. There's not much to say. I just had what a way to go out for Test.
Bit of a sugarcoat. It's fucking
strange
awful.
bedfellows going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love a strange bedfellows match.
Yeah, what were you going to say now?
He's sugarcoating it there. It's fucking.
Say it
At least he
again.
it's fucking shit. It's fucking shit. At least he went out on top.
Hey, he went out in the main event, which is where he deserved to be for the entirety of his run.
Well,
They
fun fact,
realised-
that was where he started his.
Exactly. Start where you finish.
I mean, we're not counting the second one.
I have a little fact. Did you guys say he wasn't in the Rumble match for 2004?
I believe so, unless I've...
Because I knew, I've seen that Royal Rumble a fair bit. He's not in it, but I just want to point out that
He gets taken out.
he gets taken out.
Wow.
That's when Mick Foley comes in to attack Orton.
Oh,
fucking
yeah, I
remember
do.
this.
Yeah, I remember reading this, yeah.
Because, I thought it was weird that we didn't cover the 2004 Royal Rumble. And it was killing me not knowing why he wasn't in it, so I just did a little research there.
Poor Test.
know.
Yeah, this match is pretty much just there to put over Booker T and RVD before their match at WrestleMania. I just thought it was important to point out that Booker T had some garbage-ass music here, again, like in Backlash 2003. For some reason, the WWE didn't want to give him his good music. I think the most important thing about this match is that Matt Hardy is still in his version 1 gimmick, and the Matt facts for this match were Matt paid cash for his home, and Matt has more money than you.
He's not wrong.
Just a lot of money ones.
And King, non-stop, would mention those facts throughout the match. We've got so many mentions of them in 4 minutes and 53 seconds. He's kept talking about how rich Matt was. But yeah, I don't think... Do either of you have anything to say about this match? There's not a whole lot to say about Test's really just nonchalant ending to his career.
Covered it all, I think.
So Test ends up missing his third straight WrestleMania here, which kind of really shows you how much his career had stagnated at this point. He'd shown up at 15, 16, and 17, and then had missed 18, 19, and 20, so his career's kind of in the toilet at this point. I just wanted to get your boys' quick thoughts on Test's first run here.
I mean, overall, it's not that bad. There's obviously worse careers out there. Title wins, he's in some big matches, so you can't complain too much. But obviously, with the hype that he came in the main event. I would have thought that he might have pushed for the main event scene a little bit more, but solid. C-.
What about you, Nat?
I'm going to say he peaked 2001, had a big dip down, then went up a little bit with the Un-Americans. Then he went down, and then probably like fucking just under 2001 when he was having the Scott Steiner feud, let's be real. And then he plummeted back into the bottom again.
Yeah, I think in terms of like his like what he actually like achieved, the matches like he had, and the kind of people he beat, the championships he won, it's not too bad. Like he won a bunch of titles in this run. I think just the problem here is like when you're watching it back, like we are, his in-ring work kind of just fucking sucks, and all of his stuff is really boring to watch.
Yeah.
It also like doesn't help that it feels like all of his significant moments are like him getting beaten in 5 minutes. So like it doesn't make for a great career from a viewing standpoint. But so after this match he would have on Raw, he would continue to work house shows until he re-aggravates a neck injury that had previously been keeping him out of action. He would have spinal fusion surgery performed by Dr. Lloyd Youngblood in July 2004. And that's not the first time we've mentioned Dr. Youngblood. So, shout out to him. On November 1, it was announced that he was released from his WWE contract along with A-Train and Bill Gunn. So, Test is recovering from his spinal fusion surgery at this point in time, but he returns to the ring in May 2005 and begins accepting bookings with various indie promotions. One of his most notable victories during this tenure was against former TNA wrestler Samoa Joe. His most prominent role in the independent circuit was in the New Wrestling Evolution promotion in Italy, where he took on the ring name Bigfoot due to his big boot finishing move, real original.
For fuck's sake.
Should have called him the Boggo Foot. That's what they would have called Nathan Jones. But he wouldn't spend too long on the indies, because on March 22 in 2006, the WWE would announce that Test had verbally agreed to return to the WWE, and a vignette was shown on the June 20, 2006 episode of ECW hyping his return. This brings us to his first match back in the WWE, which took place on the July 4th, 2006 episode of ECW. It sees Test defeating Al Snow via pinfall in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So this match is over pretty quickly. Test pounds on Al Snow, and Al Snow tries to fight back but is quickly squashed. Test hits a TKO and wins. After the match, Test grabs Al Snow's head and then punts it into the crowd, and a fan catches it, which is actually pretty funny. What did you guys think of this match?
Well, I was going to ask, was there any hype leading up to this? Like, did people know he was coming back? But you've answered that for me. People kind of pop for Al Snow and Head, which surprised me.
Yeah, it's a really like proper ECW crowd. Like they love Al Snow and shit.
I mean, Test looked like a beast coming out like that. Just I couldn't get over the. You've got a note there. I think we probably all would have had it down, the steroids chant, which was just hilarious.
I can't believe the crowd chanted "You take steroids." I was taken aback by that.
Good for them. They're I mean, I don't know if they're wrong or not, but
I think they were correct.
Yeah, it's probably a safe bet. I mean, solid re-debut. He looked strong. He looked big. I don't know. He just looked massive for some reason. I don't know how that's like. He looked bigger again, like his chest.
Yeah, I have it here. Test is fucking gas to the gills. He looks like walking heart failure. Like absolutely disgusting human here. Disgusting than Viscera. Like this is Big Daddy V levels of disgusting.
It's not great.
What did you think of the match, Nat?
I didn't bother watching it because I watched it a few weeks ago.
Wow, ECW fanatic.
When I was, when I was doing my ECW deep dive. So I didn't think it was worth my time. My 1 minute 10 when it would take 1 minute 20 to load up the network.
my final note here was just that Joey Styles explains the origins of Head, and I just appreciated that because I didn't know the origin story of Head, so that was nice.
Yeah. I can't believe he punted into the crowd.
That was
heartbreaking.
I was really impressed by that. Like,
Would you say he's a 6?
I don't know what was more impressive though, the punt or the catch from the guy in the crowd.
Yeah,
Also, I hope that the guy in the crowd got to keep Head.
Yeah, they used to give him out at the old ECW shows.
Really?
I mean, we all want
Back in the
Head,
old
don't we?
days.
That guy definitely
Exactly.
wanted Head.
Well, he got it.
Lucky duck.
But yeah, it's a pure squash match. Test looks like a fucking beast, just destroying Al Snow here. Does anybody have anything else to say?
Nah, not really.
Not a whole lot to say. He's really being built like a full-on monster with his return to ECW, so he's going to do a few of these squash matches in the coming weeks. But then at Survivor Series 2006, on November 26, he would have his first pay-per-view match back in the WWE. It would see Bobby Lashley, John Cena, Kane, RVD, and Sabu defeating Finlay, MVP, Test, The Big Show, and Umaga via pinfall in 12 minutes and 35 seconds in a Survivor Series match. Meltzer would give it 2.25 stars, and Price is covering this one.
Initial thoughts. This is the most disgusting he looked, Brandon. If you want to go back and check it, you probably don't. But he like I mentioned, like his upper body just looks even bigger. I don't know how else, but he got bigger from that match we watched with Al Snow to this point. He's in the match for a brief moment with Van Dam, sort of showcasing his strength, throwing him around and whatnot. After RVD eliminates MVP, Test comes in, hits the big boot out of nowhere to eliminate RVD. Test is sort of in and out of the match for a little bit, but then Test is wrestling with Sabu. He goes to the outside, and then Lashley spears him out of nowhere on the outside. It wasn't legal. He throws him back in the ring, and then Sabu hits like a slingshot leg drop, and then a springboard DDT to eliminate Test. That's about it. Like, apart from the big boot to get rid of Van Dam, he doesn't really do a whole lot apart from get eliminated by Sabu.
Sounds boring.
It wasn't great. I didn't really stick around to watch the rest of the match. I skipped forward to try and I thought I knew the finish, and it's Lashley and Cena winning, with Cena hitting an AA on Big Show. If anyone was wondering,
Nice.
That's about it. It was just a average showing by Test in the match.
It's just more Test not getting the time to shine in the elimination matches.
He just I don't know. They just got to put him over a little.
I don't know, let him be sole survivor. Have him go over Cena.
It could have been Team Test instead.
So that brings us to the infamous December to Dismember, which took place on December 3, 2006. It saw Bobby Lashley defeating CM Punk, Hardcore Holly, RVD, Test, and The Big Show in 24 minutes and 42 seconds in the Extreme Elimination Chamber to win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Meltzer would give it 2.5 stars. And we covered this in great detail in our December to Dismember episode. That was episode 1, I believe, for the podcast.
I can't believe we get to be those guys now.
I know,
find
we've
in the
really made
archives.
it.
Go back in the archives, eh?
Dive back into the archives and check that one out because we cover it in depth. And I don't think any of our thoughts have changed in the past couple of months on it. It's a pretty average match, and Test actually gets a pretty decent showing in that Elimination Chamber match, to be fair.
I've blocked out most of it, of the pay-per-view, but he does the elbow drop off the top of the pod, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. We popped for that.
That was like the big spot from memory of that match, so got to shine a little bit.
I'm pretty sure Test also eliminates RVD, I think, from memory.
From memory, I think that's right, but I can't remember.
But yeah, so check that out if you want to hear our full thoughts on that match. That takes us to the 2007 Royal Rumble on January 28th, which saw Bobby Lashley defeating Test via countout in 7 minutes and 11 seconds to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Meltzer would give it 1 star. And I was just impressed that Bobby Lashley was doing his delayed vertical suplex that he's still doing to this day back in 2007. Just thought that was a neat little note there. But Test hits his big boot and Lashley kicks out. Test goes for the TKO, but Lashley hits a belly-to-belly suplex and knocks Test out of the ring. And Test decides that this belly-to-belly suplex was far too much for him to deal with because he just gets up and leaves and gets counted out. Bobby Lashley chases after him and clotheslines him, and then Lashley throws him back in the ring and hits a power slam. What did you guys think of this random match?
Not one of his finest. Short match, the count-out finish, like it's just all a bit of a mess. Bobby Lashley's not my favorite person to watch in the ring. You mix that all together, it's not really not going to be too great. But the count-out finish, that one really doesn't make sense to me.
What about you, Nat?
Yeah, kind of sucked, but I only watched this match for the reason it gave me an excuse to watch the Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, and Mr. Kennedy was robbed of the heavyweight championship?
Yeah, it gave me an excuse to actually go back and watch that match. So, yeah, this match fucking sucks. Especially he just walks out like that's an ECW TV finish.
It makes no sense. Like my thoughts of the match is it's boring as fuck, but like the Test getting counted out makes zero sense. Like, why would he do that? The championship is on the line, and he's just like, "No, I'm gonna leave now." That's something the champion does, not the challenger.
Also, fun fact: without the count out, this match would be shorter than the rematch.
Really? Yeah, it would be. Yeah, that's true. I thought, just leaping off the point Pricey made about how Test looked at Survivor Series, I thought Test looks like he could die any minute here in this match. He is just gassed out of his mind. Test also gets zero crowd reaction here. And I noticed that Lashley spears Test right at the start of the match, but they just kind of no-sell it.
Yeah, it was meant to... I feel like that was meant to just be like a takedown.
Yeah, but he kind of fucked it up.
He just did a spear for some reason. And it's like, no, that's your finish, man. Like, you can't... Don't do that yet.
And then Test just starts brawling with him. I'm like, oh, fuck, Test's pretty strong.
Yeah, and then the belly-to-belly was like, oh, no, fuck that. That's too much.
So... While this match was going on, I did a bit of thinking. I have a bit of fantasy booking that I wanted to present to you boys.
This will only be bad.
So, as you know, at WrestleMania 23, Bobby Lashley is part of the Battle of the Billionaires match, and the ECW title doesn't, it doesn't have a match dedicated to it. Bobby Lashley doesn't need the title for that. I say he drops it to Test at the Royal Rumble, and then... Instead of having CM Punk he gets caught up in the New Breed and Originals feud, fuck that off. Take CM Punk out of the Money in the Bank match that he loses to Mr. Kennedy. Have him wrestle Test at WrestleMania and have CM Punk win the title. Surely that's a great idea.
That's better than what they did, but also, does that mean they take off the New Breed match off the card?
No, they still do the New Breed match, just CM Punk's not involved in it at all.
Well, then that's probably why they wouldn't do it, because they don't want too many ECW matches. Vince is like, no, fuck that. We're having one. We give them one. That's enough.
It could have been known as the Extreme WrestleMania.
Oh, they probably would have done that as well.
But yeah, that's where my mind went in that 7 minutes of fucking absolute boredom that was the ECW Championship match at the Rumble.
Nat obviously doesn't give a shit about it.
Yeah, I've gone rogue because of fucking...
Well, mercifully, Test's career in the WWE is about to end. On the January 30, 2007 episode of ECW, 2 days after the Royal Rumble, there would be a rematch. Bobby Lashley would defeat Test via pinfall in 7 minutes and 5 seconds to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. And in this match, Test would miss the big boot, and Lashley would hit a exploder suplex. Lashley then hits a power slam and ends Test's WWE career. After the match, the lights go out, and I was genuinely confused what the fuck was going on here. But it turns out the Undertaker shows up in the ring because he won the Rumble. And it's cute how they're even teasing that he might choose the ECW Championship. Test then runs back into the ring with a chair, but Taker grabs him and hits a chokeslam. And then Lashley kind of just punts him out of the ring, which is a fitting end to his WWE career. What did you boys think of this final match?
I have here so the ECW title match on a pay-per-view, like with the Royal Rumble. You've got a lot of time to the world title, the WWE title, the Rumble match. I thought it makes sense that they're not going to get a lot of time on the pay-per-view, but they have their entire show where they're the main feud. And the fact that they got less time than they did at the Rumble just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Again, not great, and pretty much what you said. His career ending with a chokeslam from Taker is just fitting way to go out for Test.
What about you, Nat?
Oh yeah, I was also deserves a rematch after counting himself out.
Yeah, it makes no sense why Test gets a rematch here at all.
It's a bit,
whatever.
It's a bit silly. And I don't imagine the crowd was excited to see this match again.
Yeah, they probably would have been like, this is fucking, we saw this last night, we don't need to see it again.
They were all just trying to get behind Test.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that just like the first run, Test goes out in the main event, which is fitting. His career starts in the main event, it ends the first time in the main event, and the second time it ends in the main event. Test was money, and they never realised it.
You tell him.
I'd completely forgotten that they played up that Undertaker could choose the ECW championship, and at the end of the show, Joey Styles and Taz are actually stating that Taker had chosen the ECW championship.
Fucking lies.
Can you imagine a fucking reality where Undertaker chooses the ECW championship?
Yeah, and they had that. Do you guys remember when they had that thing? It was like Cena, Batista, and Lashley were in the ring, and Taker was staring it down. To see who he chose. And then he'd look at Bobby Lashley and make that. That's what would have happened. And then he would have won the ECW title.
Also,
that's extreme.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, I think it was, on the PS3, had all three world champions on the cover. So Bobby Lashley got to be on the cover. They're really pushing ECW as a proper third brand at this point.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts on Test's final match?
Thank God it's over.
A fucking men. So Test would seemingly disappear from WWE television after this, and Jim Ross would confirm that Test had been suspended for 30 days of violating the WWE wellness program, because fucking no shit, the dude is gassed to the gills. Of course he's violating the wellness program. A week after Ross makes the announcement, it was reported that Test was officially released from his WWE contract, and Martin would release a statement through his MySpace saying that the release was mutual and he had requested it. So shout out to everybody that was keeping up on Test's MySpace at that time. Following this, he would serve a brief stint in TNA. Martin would debut as a face under his real name on the August 2, 2007 episode of Impact. He allied himself with Abyss and Sting and helped them defeat AJ Styles and Christian Cage in a tag team ladder match. At Hard Justice, Martin wrestled his first and only match for TNA as he teamed with Sting and Abyss to defeat Christian's Coalition, which was made up of Christian, Tomko, and AJ Styles. This took place in a Doomsday Chamber of Blood match, and Styles would take the pin after being slammed into a pile of broken glass and get pinned by Abyss.
I have a question.
Yep.
Why it's not about that fucking match type. It's about Test's ring name.
Yep.
Why wasn't his name in TNA called Exam?
What's Exam doing in the Impact Zone?
or midterm paper.
Fuck. Pop quiz.
Multiple choice.
Oh.
Good question. It's much better than Andrew Martin. That's a much generic name. So after this random stop in TNA where he wrestles one match, I'm still confused at why that was a thing. He would work for AWR in Italy and France. On December 19th, 2007, Martin would announce that he was planning to retire from professional wrestling. Martin would finish his retirement tour in France, losing to Rene Dupree in a series of matches. And in February 2009, he would have one final match, defeating Mitsuya Nagai in his last match. So, Test not going out on his back. He was going over. Some other information is that on September 14th, 2007 and April 5, 2008, Martin was arrested for driving under the influence in Hillsborough County and Pasco County. He was booked into jail both times, but was released the following day after posting bail. Test just going over the law enforcement there.
Doesn't do a job.
Unfortunately, as you all probably know, Test is no longer with us. Martin was found dead in his Tampa, Florida home on March 13, 2009, 4 days prior to his 34th birthday. Police were called after a neighbour reported it seemed to appear Martin had been motionless for several hours after seeing him through a window outside his condominium. Police retrieved his body after scaling the apartment balcony and discovering that he was indeed dead. He is believed to have died the previous day, and his death was ruled an accidental overdose of oxycodone. It was later determined by forensic pathologist Dr. Bennett Omalu that Martin had severe chronic traumatic CTE. I'm not going to try and pronounce the fucking last word there. This was caused by repeated concussions and subconcussive head injuries. He was cremated and his remains were flown to his family at his hometown of Whitby, Ontario, Canada. And just some Test fun facts here. Test had a bit of an acting career. In 2001, he starred in an episode of 18 Wheels of Justice. In 2002, he provided voice acting work in an episode of Kim Possible, and in 2007 was in the film Grindhouse. He also appeared in Medium Raw Night of the Wolf, which was released posthumously in 2010. He was also in Girls Gone Wild Live from Spring Break in 2003. I'm sure Pricey will track down a copy of that.
Yeah, if anyone's got a copy, just DM me at EvilBrodyPrice on Twitter, please.
Swing it his way. Hopefully it's not a little sticky on the covers.
Before I forget, anytime you search in him about Test, Kelly always comes up.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they were dating. And on one of the episodes, I think it's on WAG, she speaks to the ghost of Test.
This is,
You know, like when you get like the psychic or whatever?
I
Yeah.
can't believe this is. I knew that happened before doing any of this, like that thing on Wags.
Uh-huh.
So like that prompted me after I watched all these matches. I was like, I'm gonna go what that was about.
So what happened?
Hey,
So what happened? Tell me.
I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, they have a guy. And he's like, a couple of the Wags are there, and he's like, you know, he's feeling something. He's like, oh, there's this guy, and he's like, oh, I'm feeling connection with you, and like he's talking to Kelly, and I don't know, she starts crying and all this shit, and she's like, oh yeah, that's Andrew Martin.
That's Andrew Martin.
Is he still dead?
Have to check the Twitter account. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That's pretty funny that you brought that up. I actually went out of my way to look at that, and I saw like an interview she did as well, speaking about his death, which was that's pretty sad.
So did Test and Kelly like date?
Yeah, she was 22. She said they dated for like 2 years.
Wow, that's impressive.
But when he passed, she was 22, and he was what did you say, 34? So
Wait, were they dating when he died?
no, they'd broken up 6 months before.
Oh, okay, that's that.
It's her fault.
She did it. Kevin Sullivan conspiracy, Kelly. Oh well, so some more fun facts here. Test appeared in 5 Royal Rumble matches for a combined time for over an hour, yet eliminated just 3 people. In 4 of his 5 Royal Rumble appearances, he was eliminated by either The Big Show or Stone Cold. The other person was Batista, and fucking thank God we don't have to watch any more Test Royal Rumble appearances, because those were fucking god-awful. So his highest rated match from Dave Meltzer, which we mentioned a little bit earlier, was an Extreme Rules match against Rob Van Dam on the October 2, 2006 edition of ECW. It received 3.75 stars, which is pretty impressive for Test, considering some of the matches he had in his career. His lowest rated match was minus 1.25 stars at WrestleMania 16, which is why I didn't force anyone to sit through it, because it's just terrible. It's not even terrible in a funny way, it's just fucking garbage. And as Nat mentioned earlier, the highest rated matches that we watched were a tie between the Love Her or Leave Her match and the Unification match with Edge, but Nat does not agree with that Edge rating.
I agree with myself.
So I just wanted to quickly get your favourite and least favourite match of Test's career.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Just throw something out there.
Honestly,
Oh, do you want me to go if you're not gonna?
yeah, you go. I'm gonna quickly run through.
It's easily the Love Her or Leave. Even though it's a bit of a hodgepodge, but it's probably the best one we watched, or I watched.
You go,
What about your worst?
Worst. Oh, bloody, there's all of them. I've got to say the one where, fuck, now I'm drawing blank. I think the tag team turmoil match. I think I hated the most, just because it went for 6 minutes. It was just shit.
Have you got one, Pricey?
Yeah, it'd either be Fully Loaded, the 6-person tag intergender match, or Unforgiven 2003. Worst, I honestly don't know. They're all. There's a lot of bad ones. Maybe the tag match with Booker against Kane Undertaker.
That's a pretty good candidate.
Or Test vs Kane at No Mercy. I think I did that one just myself.
Personally, I can't go past saying Unforgiven 2003 is my favourite test match. It's, I think, the one I look on most fondly, and at least in terms of the matches I watched for this, none of them were too spectacular. I think shout out to the 6-man tag that he has with the Dudleys, Spike Dudley, and the APA, which was actually pretty entertaining. I did enjoy that quite a bit. As for the match that I like the least, there's too many to pick from. Like the matches where he gets squashed for the tag titles are fucking garbage.
Fuck, forgot about those.
Yeah, there's a lot of absolute dog shit going along here. The Royal Rumbles I had to watch of his weren't great either, so yeah, just take your pick. And finally, any final thoughts from you boys on Test's career?
I don't know, underachieved.
What about you, Nat?
I'm gonna say I kind of hope he's in the Hall of Fame one day, just because he has an interesting career.
I feel like he could make it.
I don't know. I think the rest of his career after 2001 down a bit because it's pretty iconic, the stuff with Stephanie and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. She's probably a bit of a tweener. If one year they need a fucking spot, I mean, he could fill it.
Him in, yeah.
And I kind of want them to fucking throw out a fucking Test shirt, WWE shop, as one of the retro shirts. Didn't he have a testicle shirt? I'm a testicle.
I believe he did, yeah.
Probably.
Fucking, they wouldn't release that, but I want a Test shirt. I'd wear it all the time. Instead of boots to asses, boots to testicles.
My final thoughts. I think Test's career is worse than I had imagined it in my mind. I really did not enjoy going back and watching some of the stuff he did. There was the rare highlight or two, but a lot of it was just not even garbage. It was just boring. So I don't know. I think Test had a lot of potential, but overall, it was just never came together for him.
Kevin Thorne should have won.
Exactly right.
Kevin Thorne really, really should have won.
I'm just going to go back to hanging out with him like I do because we're friends.
Friend of the podcast.
Definitely. Best friend of the podcast.
But that finally does us for this episode. We fucking hit 3 hours. That was me trying to fucking go through at a rapid pace.
Well, we knew it was going to be
positive thing is we're never going to have a wrestler that has a career as long as this on the show.
Thank God.
Because I've looked at Kevin Thorne's and Simon Dean and Sean O'Hare. They all have 15 matches max, so it's a lot easier. But thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks podcast. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestle Hunks Pod. I'm on Twitter as @SourceMarlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @EvilBrodyPrice, and Nat is on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and as of last week, we are on Spotify. Sorry, and we've already got a good response to it from people in Mexico, the Ukraine, and Sweden. So, Shout out to all you hunkermaniacs across the globe.
Appreciate it, guys.
Worldwide, brother.
You can also feel free to rate us on iTunes. And this leads us to the part of the show where each member picks a suggestion for something to cover for next week's episode that we put up into the Twitter poll. And I've thrown up this week Starrcade 2000. You two are just absolutely going hammer and tong on the Google Doc here.
Can I explain my one just quickly?
Well, I've picked Starrcade 2000 just randomly because it's got to be garbage, and Starrcade used to be held in November until Survivor Series came along, and they moved it to December.
So I'm sort of sick and tired of coming second. So I'm not gonna pick anything that people might vote for. I'm just gonna pick for something stupid and really shit.
I know what you've chosen there.
What do you mean?
You're gonna tweet the fuck out of Santino.
No, but now that you said that, I definitely will. I've picked Santino's Royal Rumble lottery spec. I don't know what this is, but
I don't know what it is either. I just threw it on there because it sounded weird. It could be fucking absolutely awful to review.
We'll just fucking tweet at him. Surely he'll give a retweet.
I'm gonna. I just went through the original specials on the network, and I came across that, and I thought, yep, absolutely. Why not? That seems like something we'd watch, and I want to watch something that's not just in-ring wrestling. I want to see something shit that's, out of the ring as well.
So Nat, what's your suggestion?
Well, before you guys left me out to dry like test rag, I thought we should do a foreign country theme, but you fucking cunts. So I've chosen Insurrection 2003 because it's a UK pay-per-view and it fucking sucks. So,
I mean, I've got there. You said the foreign country because of Crown Jewel. I mean, we could do the one and only Saudi Arabian pay-per-view so far, if you guys want. There's the wild card.
I think, greatest Royal Rumble as the wild card. Nat's suggestion of WWE Live in Italy might be a bit hard, considering you're the only one with the DVD.
I mean, I could stream it on Twitch. Also, Insurrection 2003 has Test versus Scott Simon. I think
it has. One of them has. Yeah, I think it's 2003 that has Test on it. So,
Respect.
What do you want to do? Greatest Royal Rumble, or people probably choose that?
Yeah,
but we have to watch it. Like, I don't want to fucking watch it.
But we've also. I mean, we all watched it already, didn't we?
Yeah, but I can't really remember it.
We can just skim through it and sort of try and remember what we thought, I guess.
I mean, unless there's another.
Now I kind of want Santino's Royal
Rumble. Chuck in something that's even shitter for the wildcard suggestion that's foreign.
I'm in the original specials at the moment. There's some
Beast in the East.
Sure, yeah. I don't think Beast in the East would do too well, would it?
I doubt it.
That's just chuck in Beast in the East.
I mean, if we're all voting for Santino's Royal Rumble, that's a good three vote start.
As soon as the poll comes out, we're all just gonna fucking go for it.
And people are like, votes. Wow, this must be good.
We all tweet at Santino.
Please vote. Please retweet.
Fuck it. We'll put Beast in this.
Alright.
Okay, so our poll options for this week is Starrcade 2000, which has really been... It's just random. This poll this week is so random. We've got Starrcade 2000, then Insurrection 2003 as part of the international theme. Then Santino's Royal Rumble lottery.
That's international theme.
Because it's got an Italian there. And the wildcard suggestion is Beast in the East.
I think that's solid, personally.
It's a good lineup.
What's the bet we get some ding dongs like on Twitter? Well, why is Santino's one in that? Oh, that's why.
Well, it's gonna win.
Like we get
gonna win. I'm determined.
We're gonna rig the fuck out of this.
100%. Let's go for it.
So, do either of you have anything to say before we sign off here?
Yeah, I will. I guess that my usual watch some current wrestling segment right now. I was gonna say watch. What was it?
Hideo Itami and Mustafa Ali.
Nailed it. Yes, that was the one. I was gonna say that. Great match, and you should watch it. But instead, what everyone should watch is House Hardy Halloween special
Oh
on
god.
WWE Network. Please they'll out, treat yourself and watch that. It is
They've
one of
been
the
advertising the
greatest things
fuck
ever.
out of that, so I'm actually going to watch it. It came
Oh
up
my
before everything I watched for this test fucking thing.
Dude, it's
Well,
so funny.
Mine's not wrestling related, but go to my Instagram at @NatHunkMarlow and go on my Amazon page and buy me gifts for my birthday. Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Buy him a
true.
test action figure.
I don't think that's in my thing, but you can get me a Ken Shamrock figure for $13.
Oh, that's a steal.
So,
Well said.
So I guess that does it for this week. Everybody stay hunky.